What's real anyway? Have you ever stopped to truly think about what real even means? We use the word all the time. The ground, a bird singing, they all seem so real. But here's the thing. People have wondered about what's truly real for thousands of years. This deep question about what exists is called ontology. It's not just about touching things, but about the very nature of being. Long ago, in ancient Greece, a wise thinker named Plato had a famous idea. He believed the world we see might not be the most real one. He imagined a deeper, more perfect reality of forms or ideas that our everyday world is just a shadow of. Think about it. Every chair you see is different, but they all share the idea of a chair. Is that idea of a perfect chair more real than a chair you can sit on? It's like a perfect blueprint for chairs. And this isn't just an old, dusty idea. Think about your dreams. When you're dreaming, everything feels incredibly real, right? Your brain fully believes it's happening. Only when you wake up do you realize it wasn't real, like real life. Or consider how your brain sees color. A red apple isn't red on its own. It reflects light waves. Your brain then interprets those waves as the color red. So, is redness real out there, or is it something we create inside our heads? This isn't about saying nothing is real. Instead, it's about understanding how our minds and senses shape what we experience. It makes you wonder, what if there are layers of reality we don't even know about? What if our understanding of real is just one tiny piece of a much bigger puzzle? This question invites us to look beyond the surface and stay curious about the world and our place in it. Is your red my red? Have you ever stopped to wonder if the color red you see is the same red I see? It seems like a simple question, doesn't it? We both point to a stop sign and call it red. But here's the thing, we can't truly know if our internal experience of that color is identical. Imagine holding a bright red apple. You see a certain shade, a warmth, a deepness. I hold the same apple, and I see red too. But is the feeling of that red inside my mind the exact same feeling inside yours? This idea goes way back in philosophy. Thinkers for centuries have puzzled over this. They wondered about these private, personal experiences, the ones only we can feel, like the taste of sweetness or the sound of a bell. We can describe them with words, but we can't swap minds and truly feel what another person feels. Let's think about it like this. Your brain processes light waves in a certain way, turning them into your unique experience of color. My brain does the same, but it's still my brain, with its own unique setup. It's like two different people listening to the same song. You might feel energized, while I might feel calm. We're both hearing the same music, but our internal, emotional responses are personal. The same goes for colors. You see the vibrant red of a fire truck. I see it too, but the personal sensation of that redness, that raw experience in your mind, might be something entirely different from mine. So, while we agree on the word red, the actual inner feeling of it might be a deep mystery between us. This reminds us that everyone's inner world is incredibly unique and private. It's a beautiful thought, really, how each of us experiences the world in our own special way, carrying a secret universe of feelings and colors within. It makes the world richer, knowing that we share so much, yet also have these deep, personal experiences that remain ours alone, a quiet secret no one else can truly touch. When is now exactly? Have you ever really thought about the word now? It seems so simple, right? Like this exact moment. But here's the thing. Trying to pin down now is like trying to catch smoke. It's always slipping through your fingers. Is now the second you just lived, or the one about to happen? For thousands of years, smart thinkers, from ancient Greeks to modern scientists, have puzzled over this. They wondered if now is even a real, fixed point. Some thought everything is always changing, like a river that's never the same, even for a second. So, how can there be a single, steady now if everything is in constant flow? Think about it this way. Imagine you're watching a distant fireworks display. You see the bright flash of light before you hear the loud boom. The light travels super fast, but the sound takes a little longer to reach your ears. So, your now for seeing the flash is different from your now for hearing the noise. And that's just a short distance. When you look at the stars at night, the light hitting your eyes might have left that star thousands or even millions of years ago. So, you're not seeing the star as it is now, but as it was in the very distant past. Your now is actually a collection of echoes from different times. Even your own brain has a tiny delay. What you see, hear, and feel gets processed by your mind a split second after it actually happens. So, the now you experience is always just a tiny bit behind the real world. This makes now feel less like a sharp line and more like a blurry, always moving spot. It's not a moment you can grab and hold on to. It's more like a feeling, a brief flicker where the past meets the future, and maybe that's okay. Maybe the wonder of now is in its constant movement, gently reminding us to pay attention to this unique, fleeting instant before it, too, becomes the past. Can we talk about nothing? Have you ever really thought about nothing? Not just an empty box, but true, absolute nothingness. It's a strange word, isn't it? When we say nothing, we usually mean the absence of something we expect. Like when there are no more cookies left in the jar. The cookies are gone, so there's nothing left of them. But the jar is still there. But is it really nothing? Philosophers and thinkers for thousands of years have found nothing truly mind-bending. For example, an ancient Greek thinker named Parmenides thought it was impossible for nothing to even exist. How could something be nothing? If you can talk about it, or even think about it, doesn't that make it something? If it was truly nothing, how could it even cross your mind? It's a bit like trying to draw silence. You can draw things not making noise, but silence itself is tricky. For a long time, people thought the space between stars was just vast emptiness, true nothingness. But then science showed us something different. Even the emptiest parts of space aren't totally empty. They have tiny particles, energy fields, and even dark matter we can't see but know is there. So, even space isn't perfectly nothing. Think about a moment when you feel bored, or like there's nothing to do. That feeling isn't truly nothing, is it? It's a state, a feeling. It makes us wonder if true nothingness, a state of absolute non-existence, can ever really happen or be understood by us. Our minds seem to always search for something, even when faced with what we call nothing. Maybe true, nothing is just a concept our brains use to describe when things are absent, not an actual place. It's a mystery that quietly reminds us how much something there always is, even where we might label it empty. What is a thought? Have you ever really stopped to wonder what a thought actually is? It's something you experience all the time, every single minute of every day. You can't hold a thought in your hand, or point to it like a chair or a cloud. It doesn't have weight or color. But thoughts are definitely real, right? They buzz in your mind, guiding your actions, shaping your dreams, and letting you plan out your day. How can something that isn't physical feel so powerful and so much a part of you? People have wrestled with this big question for a very long time. Thousands of years ago, ancient Greek thinkers imagined thoughts as being part of a larger, invisible mind that connected everyone. They believed thinking was a way to touch something eternal. Much later, in the 1600s, a famous French philosopher named René Descartes had a groundbreaking idea. He said, "I think, therefore I am." He meant that the very act of thinking proved he existed, even if everything else was an illusion. He saw thoughts as something separate from the physical body, almost like a spirit interacting with a machine. Today, science looks at thoughts differently. They see them as incredibly complex patterns of electrical signals and chemical reactions happening inside your brain. When you remember the lyrics to your favorite song, or figure out a tricky math problem, your brain cells are firing in a very specific, intricate dance. So, here's an example. Imagine you're trying to figure out what to pack for a weekend trip. You mentally scroll through your clothes, picture the weather, even think about what your friends might bring. This entire process, the images, the choices, the feelings of excitement or worry, that's your mind creating a complex tapestry of thoughts. It's not just chemicals, there's something more, a unique meaning and a personal feeling tied to each of those mental pictures, and that's why it matters. A thought might start as a flicker of energy in your brain, a brief chemical reaction, but it grows into the stories we tell ourselves, the plans we make, and the understanding we have of the world. Thoughts are the quiet, amazing landscape of our inner world, always moving, always changing. They make us who we are, a profound and beautiful mystery carried inside each of us. Where do ideas come from? Have you ever wondered where your thoughts begin? How does a new idea just pop into your head? It's a big mystery. Ideas feel like whispers from somewhere else, or sudden flashes of light in our minds. They can be about anything, a story, an invention, or just dinner. But where do they come from before they arrive? For thousands of years, people have asked this. Ancient Greek thinkers like Plato believed ideas lived in a perfect, unseen world. We just remembered them, like our souls had seen these forms before we were born. Later, others thought ideas came purely from what we see, hear, and touch. Your brain takes in this information, mixes it up, and a new idea sparks. Think about a scientist solving a hard problem. They might spend days looking at data, doing experiments. Then, suddenly, maybe while walking or showering, a new way to see the problem just appears. It's not magic, but it feels a bit like it. Often, when our minds are relaxed, not trying too hard, the pieces click. Our brain has been working in the background, making connections we weren't aware of. So, is an idea a gift from somewhere vast and unknown? Or is it simply the amazing power of our mind, quietly weaving together all the information we collect? Maybe it's both. Our minds could be like antennas, picking up signals and turning them into something new, something only ours. It makes you wonder about the secret life of your own thoughts, doesn't it? Are we just brains in a jar? Have you ever just stopped and wondered, really deeply, if what you see, hear, and feel around you is actually real? There's an old thought experiment that asks just that. It's called the brain in a jar. Imagine, your brain, the part of you that thinks and feels, is floating in a jar. But it's connected to wires, and these wires are sending it signals that make you believe you're walking in a park, talking to friends, or reading this very script. Everything you experience, every sight and sound, would be coming from those wires, not from an actual world outside. People have thought about this kind of idea for a long, long time. Hundreds of years ago, a famous thinker named René Descartes wondered if an evil demon could be tricking him, making him believe things that weren't true. He asked, "How can I be sure anything is real if my senses could be fooled?" He realized the one thing he could be sure of was that he was thinking, so he must exist. Think about playing a really advanced video game, maybe one where you put on a special headset and it feels like you're actually inside the game. You duck, you jump, you grab things, and it feels incredibly real, even though your body is just sitting on a couch. The game is sending signals to your eyes and ears, making your brain believe you are in that digital world. So, what if our lives are like that? What if our brain is just getting signals? It's a bit of a strange thought, right? But here's the thing, even if we were just brains in a jar, the feelings, the ideas, the connections we make, they are still our experiences. Our laughter, our tears, our learning, these moments shape who we are, whether they come from wires or from a world we can touch. Maybe the feeling of reality is what truly matters, not just where it comes from. And that's something worth thinking about. The feeling you can't name. Have you ever felt something deep inside, a kind of pull or ache or wonder? But when you try to put a name on it, no word quite fits. It's not just happy or sad, not quite lonely or excited. It's a feeling that seems to stretch beyond what language can grasp. Here's the thing, our words for emotions are like tools. We have hammers, screwdrivers, wrenches, but sometimes you come across a strange bolt and none of your tools quite work. That's what these unnamed feelings are like. They're real, you feel them strongly, but our usual language doesn't have the right label. People have thought about this for a long, long time. Ancient thinkers, and even regular folks today, notice that some experiences are just too big for words. Think about how different cultures have unique words for feelings that don't exist in English. For example, the Danish word hygge describes a cozy, comforting feeling of togetherness. We don't have one single word for that in English, but we definitely feel it. This shows that our words shape how we understand our inner world. Consider this. Imagine standing on a high mountain peak, looking out at miles of forests and distant clouds. You feel tiny, yes, but also a part of something immense and beautiful. There's a quiet awe, a sense of belonging to the vastness, maybe a little bit of longing to. It's not just awe or peace, it's all of those, mixed with something else, something unspoken. You might feel a lightness in your chest, a widening of your eyes, but the feeling itself is too rich for a single word. So, what does this mean? It means there's more to being human than what we can talk about. Some of our deepest experiences live in a space beyond words, and that's okay. Maybe these unnamed feelings are like secret messages from our souls, reminding us that life holds mysteries too vast and too beautiful to ever be fully explained. It's a quiet understanding that some things are simply meant to be felt, not just named. Do colors really exist? Think about a bright red apple. Is the apple truly red? Or is something deeper happening when we see that color? This question makes us think about how we experience the world. Here's the thing. Colors aren't in the objects themselves. When light hits an apple, it absorbs most light waves. It reflects only certain waves, the ones we call red. Those red light waves travel to your eyes. Special cells there, called cones, pick them up. Your brain creates the feeling of red. It's like your brain paints the picture based on those signals. Hundreds of years ago, Isaac Newton figured this out. He showed that ordinary white light is actually all the colors of the rainbow. When light goes through a prism, it splits into those colors, like a rainbow. This showed color is about light, not just the object. That's why it matters. If you shine a red light on a blue shirt, the shirt might look black, because no blue waves are there to reflect. Think about how dogs see. They don't see as many colors as we do. Their eyes have fewer types of color sensing cells. So, their world might seem less vibrant, more in shades of yellow, blue, and gray. A red ball to a human looks red. To a dog, it might just look like a dull yellow. It's the same ball, but their brains interpret light differently. So, colors aren't out there waiting to be found. Instead, they are something our brains create. It's a wonderful, complex way our minds make sense of light. So, the vibrant world we see is partly a masterpiece created by our own minds. It makes you wonder what else our brains create for us every single moment. Is silence a sound? Have you ever really listened to silence? I mean, truly listened, the way you might listen to music or the wind outside. It's a strange thing, isn't it? We usually think of sound as something that travels through the air, vibrations that hit our eardrums. So, if sound is a presence, then silence should be its absence. It should be nothing. But here's the thing. Is it ever truly nothing? For a long time, thinkers and philosophers have wondered about silence. Is it just the space between sounds, like the quiet pauses in a conversation? Or does silence have a quality of its own, a sort of invisible hum that we can feel? Think about a really quiet room late at night. You might hear your own heartbeat. You might hear the soft whoosh of your breath. Sometimes, your ears might even make a tiny ringing sound, a noise from inside your own head. So, even when the world around you is quiet, your own body, your own mind, might create a kind of sound. It's like when you're standing in a huge, empty space, like a big, quiet gym or an old church. Even without anyone talking, you can sometimes feel a stillness, a presence in the quiet. It's not just an empty void. It feels like a space that's ready for something, or holding something. Maybe silence isn't just a lack of sound. Maybe it's a different kind of sound altogether, a deep, quiet hum of the world, or even the subtle noises of our own bodies and minds. It could be the sound of reflection, a space where thoughts can become clearer. It's a mystery that makes us wonder, what do we hear when we hear nothing at all? What makes you, you? Have you ever stopped to truly wonder, what makes you, you? I mean, really think about it. If you look at an old photo, maybe from when you were little, you recognize yourself. But that person had different thoughts, maybe even a different favorite color. Your body has changed, cells replaced, memories gained and lost. Yet, you still feel like the same person. This feeling, this sense of being you, that's one of life's deepest puzzles. For thousands of years, thinkers have been curious about this. Ancient Greek philosophers, for example, imagined something called the ship of Theseus. Imagine a ship that sailed for a long time. Over the years, every single plank of wood, every sail, every rope was replaced, piece by piece. When all the original parts were gone, was it still the same ship? Or had it become an entirely new one? This idea applies to us too. Your body replaces almost all its cells every few years. Are you the same person if all your parts are new? Here's the thing. It's not just about the parts. Your memories, your personality, the unique way you see the world, these things seem to stick with you. Think about your favorite song. Even if you hear it hundreds of times, and it brings back different memories each time, it's still the same song to you. It has a core identity. Just like that song, yourself is a story. It's a continuous thread woven through time, even as details change. So, the you isn't just your body, or your thoughts, or your memories alone. It's something deeper, a flow that connects all these changing pieces into one unique experience. It's a mystery wrapped in everyday life, and reminds us how truly special and complex each one of us is, just by being ourselves. Did time start? Have you ever stopped to wonder if time itself had a beginning? It's a strange thought. We usually think of time as always moving forward, never stopping. But what if it wasn't always here? This mystery makes us wonder if there was a before time itself. For a long time, many thinkers believed time was eternal. They thought it had always been and always would be. It was like a river that flowed forever, with no source and no end. Ancient philosophers, like some Greeks, imagined a universe that had no true beginning, so time wouldn't either. But then, science gave us a new idea. Here's the thing. Modern science, especially with the idea of the Big Bang, suggests that our universe had a starting point. And if the universe began, then maybe time did too. Imagine reading a book. The story's time only begins when you read the first page. Before that, the story doesn't unfold. So, if the Big Bang was the first page of our universe, what was before it? Can before even exist if there was no time yet? It's a tricky idea to wrap our heads around. If time started with the Big Bang, what was outside of that beginning? Was it just ... nothing? Or something we can't even imagine, because our minds are so used to time always being there? It's like asking what's north of the North Pole. Concept of north loses its usual meaning there. This question isn't just about science. It touches on something deeper about what it means to exist. Thinking about time starting reminds us how much we don't understand about the universe and our place in it. It's a gentle nudge to stay curious about the biggest mysteries. Can we ever be sure? Have you ever wondered how we can really know if something is true? We talk about big mysteries, things that are hard to put into words. But here's the thing, even when we try our best to understand, can we ever be totally sure about anything? This is a deep question people have thought about for ages. Ancient thinkers, like philosophers from Greece, wondered what was truly real. They asked if our senses could trick us. Think about a dream. It feels so real while you're in it, right? But then you wake up, and it's gone. So, how do you know what's real and what's just a dream, even when you're awake? It makes you wonder. Here's what I mean. Imagine you and a friend watch the same movie. Afterward, you talk about it. Your friend remembers a character saying one thing, but you remember them saying something else. Or you remember a scene happening at night, and your friend insists it was daytime. You both saw the same thing, but your memories are different. Whose memory is right? Can either of you be truly sure? This shows us something important. Even when we try to understand deep ideas about what exists, there's often a bit of fog. It's like seeing through a cloudy window. We can see shapes, but details are blurry, and that's okay. Maybe the point isn't always to find one final answer. Maybe it's about the journey of asking, the curiosity itself. It makes us think deeply about ourselves and the world, and that can be powerful. What's beyond the universe? Have you ever looked up at the night sky, at all those countless stars, and just wondered, what's out there? We talk about the universe like it's everything, everywhere. But what if it isn't? What if there's something beyond the edge of what we can even see or imagine? This question isn't new. For thousands of years, people have looked at the night sky and wondered. Some thought space went on forever, endless. Others imagined a boundary, or even a divine world beyond. Today, scientists have wild ideas. Maybe our universe is just one of many, like a bubble in a giant cosmic foam, a multiverse. Or maybe, and this is hard to grasp, there's just ... nothing. Not empty space, but literally no space or no time outside our universe. Think about playing a big open-world video game. You explore for hours, and it feels infinite. But then, you hit an invisible wall, or the map ends. What's beyond that wall? Is it more game data that hasn't loaded? Or is it just blank code outside the game's boundaries? Our universe could be like that map. We explore within its borders, but what's beyond the edges? Here's the thing. We don't know. Our tools and minds are part of this universe. Trying to imagine what's outside it is like lifting yourself by your own shoelaces. It's a mystery that stretches our minds, making us feel small but also incredibly special. Knowing there's so much we don't understand, so much we might never know, just makes the universe we are in feel even more profound. It reminds us that wonder is truly endless. Is free will real? Have you ever really thought about why you choose what you choose? Like, did you pick out your outfit this morning, or was it somehow already decided for you? This idea, of whether we truly have free will, is one of the deepest questions humans have ever asked. It asks if we are really the masters of our own decisions, or if everything we do is just a long chain of events, set in motion long before we were born. Here's the thing. If everything that happens is just a reaction to what came before it, then where do our choices fit in? Think about a domino effect. One domino falls, then the next, then the next. Our universe seems to work a lot like that, with causes and effects. If every thought, feeling, or impulse in our brain is just a chemical reaction following physical laws, then how free are we truly? Some old thinkers, like the Stoics in ancient Greece, believed fate was in charge. They said some things are just meant to be. Later, philosophers in the Enlightenment talked more about human reason and our power to choose. But this question never really went away. Consider something simple, like deciding what to eat for lunch. You might think, I want a sandwich, but maybe that thought came because you saw a picture of a sandwich yesterday, or your stomach rumbled, or your brain chemistry just leaned that way. Our brains are complex. They react to so many things: our past experiences, our current mood, even tiny signals we don't notice. So, is the choice truly ours, or is it a result of all these things coming together in a way that just feels like a choice? This isn't about saying your choices don't matter. They do, but it makes you wonder about the mystery behind them. It's a quiet thought. Maybe our freedom isn't about picking from infinite possibilities, but about how we experience the path we're already on. It's about finding meaning in the stream of moments, even if the stream itself has always flowed in one direction. And that's a beautiful way to look at our lives, isn't it? How do we know anything? Have you ever stopped to wonder, truly wonder, how you know anything at all? Like, how do you know the sky is blue, or that your name is your name? We usually just accept what we see, hear, and feel. But what if those feelings or sights are tricky? For a very long time, smart thinkers have wrestled with this. Hundreds of years ago, a French thinker named René Descartes sat by his fireplace and asked himself if he could really be sure about anything. He even wondered if his whole life was just a vivid dream. His big discovery, even if everything else was fake, the fact that he was thinking meant he had to exist. I think, therefore I am, he wrote. That was his first solid piece of knowledge. Another thinker, John Locke, from England, had a different idea. He believed our minds start like empty notebooks, a blank slate. We learn everything from our experiences. Every sight, sound, taste, all of it fills in a page. So, for Locke, knowing comes from doing and seeing. Think about how you know. A stove is hot. You might see a red glow, or someone warns you. But the truest knowledge comes from carefully touching it and feeling the heat, or, sadly, burning yourself. That direct experience makes it real for you. But even then, can you really explain that exact feeling to someone who has never felt it? Not really. You can only share your experience. So, here's the thing. Knowing isn't always a simple fact. It's often a messy mix of what our senses tell us, what others teach us, and what we figure out ourselves. It's a quiet process of building up certainty, one piece at a time. And sometimes, it's about being okay with not knowing everything, just being curious about the mystery. Our journey of understanding is always unfolding. The mystery of knowing you. Have you ever stopped to think about how you know something? Not just remembering a fact, but truly understanding it. Deep down, our minds don't just hold information. They also somehow know when they hold it, and when they don't. It's a strange kind of awareness. Think about studying for a test. You read, you memorize. You might think you know the answers, but there's a different feeling when you really know it. It's when you can explain it clearly to a friend without notes. It's when you feel sure your answer is right. That feeling, that clear sense of understanding, is part of this mystery. This idea has puzzled people for ages. A Greek thinker named Socrates talked about knowing thyself. He meant understanding your own mind, what you truly grasp. He said admitting you didn't know was the first step to learning. Another philosopher, Descartes, famously said, I think, therefore I am. He meant our ability to think about our own thoughts shows we exist and are aware. Here's the thing. This isn't just about facts. It's about being aware of your own thinking process. When solving a math problem, you might pause and think, I really get this step? Or, I know I've seen this, but I'm not sure of the method. That's your mind checking its own knowledge. It's like your brain has a quiet inner voice, always checking. This amazing ability helps us learn and solve problems. It shows us how incredibly aware our minds are. It's a calm mystery. It reminds us there's more to knowing than just recalling information. It's about that quiet confidence, the inner signal that whispers, "Yes, I understand." Thinking about thinking. Have you ever stopped to think about your own thoughts? Not what you're thinking about, but the act of thinking itself. It's a bit like looking at yourself in a mirror, but instead of seeing your face, you're seeing your mind at work. This idea, thinking about thinking, is a really old one. People have wondered about it for thousands of years. Thinkers like Socrates, way back in ancient Greece, told people to know thyself. He wasn't just talking about knowing your favorite color. He meant understanding how your own mind works, how you learn, and why you believe what you believe. Later, a philosopher named René Descartes had a famous thought: "I think, therefore I am." He was saying that the very act of thinking proved he existed. It was a big idea, showing how powerful and central our minds are. Here's an example. Imagine you're trying to solve a tricky math problem. You don't just stare at it. You might try one way, then realize it's not working. So, you stop and think, why isn't this working? What other ways could I try? That moment, when you pause and reflect on your strategy, that's thinking about thinking. It's when you become aware of your own problem-solving process. Or maybe you're learning to play a new instrument. You might notice that you learn melodies best by humming them first, or that your fingers feel more comfortable a certain way. You're observing how you learn. This kind of thinking helps us learn better. It helps us understand our feelings. It even helps us make better choices. When you understand how your mind takes in information, processes it, and forms ideas, you gain a quiet power. It's like being the captain of your own ship, not just a passenger. It's a gentle reminder that inside each of us is a vast, complex universe of thought, and simply noticing that universe, truly looking at it, is the first step to exploring its endless mysteries. It's a quiet wonder, always there, waiting for us to observe. Does a tree make a sound if no one hears it? Have you ever thought about that old question? If a tree falls in a forest, and no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound? It sounds simple, but here's the thing. This isn't just a trick question. It's a deep puzzle about how we understand the world. When we talk about sound, we usually mean two things. First, there's the physical event. The tree hits the ground, creating vibrations in the air. These vibrations are like ripples in water, spreading out. This is a scientific fact. These airwaves happen whether someone is there or not. But then, there's the second meaning of sound. This is what happens in our ears and brain. Our ears catch those vibrations, and our brain turns them into what we actually hear, a loud crash. Without an ear and a brain to interpret those vibrations, is it truly sound in the way we experience it? Philosophers have wondered about this for centuries. Thinkers like George Berkeley, long ago, suggested that maybe things only truly exist when they are being perceived. It's a bit like a song playing on your phone. If you put your headphones on and play a song, you hear it. But if you play it out loud in an empty room, the sound waves are there. Sure, but is it music in the same way? If no one is listening, enjoying the tune, the vibrations are present, but the experience of music is some single quotes so. The tree falling creates airwaves. That's true. But the experience of sound, that booming crash we recognize, needs a listener. This makes us pause and think about our own minds. Does reality depend on us? Do things need us to see, hear, or feel them to truly be? It's a gentle reminder that our senses play a huge role in how we build our world. What exists out there, just waiting for us to notice it, and what only truly comes alive when we bring our awareness to it. It makes the world seem a little more mysterious, and our place in it a little more special. What is emptiness? Have you ever really thought about what empty means? Like when a glass is empty, it just means there's no water in it. But is it truly empty? It still holds air, right? And it's still a glass, waiting to be used. This simple idea points to a mystery that thinkers have explored for thousands of years. For many, especially in ancient Eastern ways of thinking, emptiness isn't about nothingness. It's not a scary void where everything disappears. Instead, it's the idea about how things really exist. They don't have a solid, unchanging core. They are always shifting, changing, and connected to everything else. This means nothing truly stands alone, fixed in time. Everything depends on other things to be what it is. Think about a blank page in a notebook. When you first open it, it's empty, right? But that emptiness isn't a lack of anything good. In fact, it's full of potential. That blank page is waiting for your words, your drawings, your ideas. It becomes a story, a poem, a doodle because of what you bring to it. Emptiness is what allows it to be anything at all. Without that space, nothing new could appear. This idea of emptiness helps us see the world differently. It suggests that nothing is absolutely fixed or separate. Your identity, your feelings, even the objects around you, they are always in flow. They depend on so many other things. So, emptiness isn't a hole. It's more like a wide open sky. It's the space where anything is possible. It's the constant change and connection that makes life so rich and alive. And that's a beautiful thought, don't you think? Why is there something instead of nothing? Have you ever just stopped, looked around, and wondered, why is anything here at all? Why isn't everything just empty space? This is one of the deepest, most puzzling questions humans have ever thought about. It's not about how things work, but why they even are. We exist. The trees outside exist. The countless stars in the night sky exist. But there was no clear rule that said any of this had to be here. It's a bit like asking why a brilliant story was written, instead of the paper just staying forever blank. For thousands of years, deep thinkers and philosophers, and honestly, even just regular people sitting quietly, have puzzled over this. They looked at the vast, complex universe, or even just at their own hands, and couldn't quite figure out why there wasn't just nothing. It often seems easier for there to be nothing, doesn't it? No rules, no stuff, no problems to solve, just a complete void, total silence, stretching out forever. But that's not what we have. We have something. Here's the thing to really think about. Imagine your own room. If you could magically take away every single object, every piece of furniture, every book, every speck of dust, and even all the air, what would be left? You'd have an empty space. But then, what if you could take away the space itself? And even the very idea of there being a space, what would remain? That's closer to what nothing might mean. And yet, here we are, in a world overflowing, with countless things, big and small. This isn't a question with an easy answer, or even an answer we can fully grasp. It might be a mystery we'll always carry, but just thinking about it can change how you see the world around you. It makes you realize how truly amazing and almost impossible it is that anything exists at all. It's like a giant, beautiful, impossible surprise that we get to be a part of. An understanding that deep mystery makes every moment, every sound, every little bit of something feel even more special, doesn't it? It invites us to really look at what is here, instead of just wondering about what isn't. What is being? Have you ever stopped to wonder, really wonder, what it means to be not just what you are, like a student or a friend, but the actual act of existing? What does it mean for anything at all to just be there? This is one of the oldest and deepest questions humans have ever asked. Don't think about it. We use the word is all the time. The sky is blue. That rock is hard. I am hungry. Every time we say is or am or are, we're talking about being. It's the very foundation of everything. For something to be, it has to exist in some way. It could be a physical thing, like a chair, or it could be something we can't touch, like a thought, a feeling, or even a number. Are these things being in the same way? Ancient thinkers, like those in old Greece, spent a lot of time on this. They weren't just curious. They saw it as the starting point for understanding everything else. If you don't know what it means for something to exist, how can you understand what it is? They wanted to figure out what was real and what wasn't. What truly is and what just seems to be. Here's an example. Think about a story you imagine in your head. The characters, the setting, the events, they are there in your mind, right? They exist as thoughts. But they don't exist in the same way a real chair in your room exists. So, what kind of being is your imagination compared to the being of a physical object? And what about a feeling, like happiness? Does happiness exist in the same way a chair does? It's harder to point to. This question of being makes us think about our own lives. You are here, reading this. You exist. That's a truly amazing and mysterious thing. It's not just about what you do or what you have. It's about the simple, profound fact that you are. And that's a mystery we all share, just by being. The secret of consciousness. Have you ever stopped to wonder what it really means to be you, to feel alive? To know that you are a person, seeing, hearing, and thinking. This feeling, this awareness, is what we call consciousness. It's not just having thoughts, but knowing you are the one having them. It's that inner light that makes you experience the world. From sun on your skin to your favorite song. Think about it. Your brain is made of cells and electricity, but how do those tiny signals create the feeling of being happy, or sad, or completely aware of yourself right now? This question has puzzled people for thousands of years. Ancient philosophers, like those in Greece, wondered if the mind was separate from the body. Later, a thinker named René Descartes famously said, "I think, therefore I am." He meant that just the act of thinking proves you exist, but it doesn't explain how that thought becomes the deep, personal feeling of being. Here's the thing. We can study the brain with amazing machines, see which parts light up when you feel something. We can even build smart computers that can talk and solve problems. But do they feel? Do they truly experience? When you bite into a juicy apple, you don't just know it's sweet. You taste the sweetness. You feel the crunch. How does our brain create that specific, personal flavor inside you? How does it make you aware of you? It's one of the biggest mysteries of all. This secret of consciousness reminds us how truly unique each person's inner world is. While our bodies are physical, our consciousness feels like something more. It's the part of us that holds our memories, our dreams, and our deepest sense of self. And that's why it matters. It means that simply existing, simply being aware, is a profound wonder we may never fully understand. It's a quiet miracle happening inside each of us, every moment. Our dreams, real worlds. Have you ever woken from a dream, and for a few seconds, wondered if it was real? Like, truly real. One moment you're flying through the clouds, or maybe trying to run but your legs won't move. The next, your alarm clock pulls you back to your bedroom. This feeling, that dreams can be so incredibly vivid, makes us wonder, are they just stories our brains make up, or something more? Here's the thing about dreams. While they feel incredibly real when we're in them, our bodies aren't actually doing those things. We aren't flying. We aren't running from monsters. Dreams are like a private movie playing only for you, inside your mind. Your brain creates whole worlds, characters, and events. It can be super clear, making you believe you're truly there. People have thought about this for thousands of years. Ancient thinkers, like the Greeks, wondered if dreams were messages, or if our waking life might be a dream too. It's an old question. They saw how real dreams felt, and tried to understand what that meant for reality. Our minds do amazing things while we sleep. It's a bit like playing a really immersive video game. When you're deep in the game, guiding your character, it can feel incredibly real. Your heart might race, you might feel excited or scared, but, deep down, you're sitting on your couch. Your dream brain is kind of like the game console, building that world for you, making it feel totally true for a while. So, are dreams real worlds? Not in the way your school or home are real, but they are powerful experiences for your mind. They show how amazing our brains are, creating entire universes when we close our eyes. Dreams are a mystery, a space where our thoughts and feelings explore without limits. They remind us that reality might be more complex and wonderful than we often imagine. This is a quiet, amazing thing that happens inside us every night. Can words really explain feelings? Have you ever felt something so big inside you that words just didn't seem enough? Like looking at a sky full of stars, feeling this incredible wonder. You might say, it's amazing, but that doesn't capture the quiet, deep feeling in your stomach, or how small yet connected you feel. Here's the thing. Words are powerful tools for ideas and facts, but feelings are different. They're not just thoughts. They're often a mix of physical sensations, memories, or even colors in our mind. How do you put that exact feeling into words? People have wondered about this for a long time. Ancient thinkers and poets struggled to capture emotions. They knew something beyond words lived in the human heart. It's like describing chocolate to someone who's never tried it. You can talk sweetness, but you can't give them the experience with just words. Consider your favorite song, the one that gives you chills. That moment, the music swells, and you feel a rush, joy, sadness, or both. How do you explain that specific mix to someone who hasn't heard it? You can say, it's beautiful, or it makes me happy, but does that truly capture how it touches your soul? This shows how feelings often live in a space words can't quite reach, and that's why it matters. Maybe the deepest feelings are meant to be felt, not just labeled. It reminds us our inner worlds are rich and complex, holding experiences beyond simple definitions. Some profound parts of being human might just be those unexplainable feelings that connect us, even when perfect. Words are hard to find. What is meaning? Have you ever stopped to truly think about what meaning really is? It's a word we use so often. Understanding it, getting to the heart of it, is one of life's quiet puzzles. When we use a word, or see a symbol, or even feel a certain way, we often connect it to something else. That connection, that link between the thing itself and what it stands for in our minds, that's what we call meaning. It's how our brains quietly work to make sense of the world around us. Humans have been wondering about this for thousands of years. Long ago, thinkers in ancient Greece, like a philosopher named Plato, imagined that perfect ideas and true meanings might exist somewhere in an ideal world. But here's the thing. Most meaning we find in our daily lives isn't in some far-off mysterious place. It's right here with us, in how we speak, how we share stories, and how we try to understand each other. It's like a silent, shared agreement we all take part in. Think about a simple, everyday example: a red traffic light. The light itself is just colored light. But for us, for everyone on the road, it means stop. It's not just a suggestion. It's a clear command, understood by everyone who sees it. We've all agreed on that meaning. Or consider a song that makes you feel deeply nostalgic or happy. The music notes don't hold those feelings, but because of your memories or the way the sounds are put together, that song takes on a special feeling. It means something personal to you. So, meaning isn't always out in the open. Sometimes it's like a quiet whisper, or a feeling tough to put into words. It's what connects us to ideas, to objects, and most importantly, to other people. It shows us how rich and layered even the simplest things can be, if we just take a moment to consider what they represent. The search for meaning is a gentle journey we all embark on, every single day. Where does tomorrow go? Have you ever wondered where tomorrow goes after it becomes today? Think about it. Yesterday is gone. It happened, and now it's a memory. But what about tomorrow? It hasn't arrived yet. So, where does it live before it gets here? Does it exist somewhere, waiting for us to find it? This isn't just a silly question. People have been asking similar things for thousands of years. Ancient Greek thinkers, like a man named Aristotle, thought deeply about time. They wondered if time was something that truly existed on its own, like a river always flowing forward. Or was it just a way we measure change, how one thing turns into another? Some people believe tomorrow is just a concept, a plan, or an idea in our heads until it actually unfolds. It's not a physical place you can visit. Here's the thing, you plan for tomorrow, right? Maybe you have a big test, or a game, or a friend's birthday party. You can imagine it, you can prepare for it, and you know it will happen. But right now, as you're reading this, that test or party isn't happening. It's not sitting in a box, somewhere, waiting to be opened. It's like when you're waiting for a package to arrive. You know it's coming, you track it, but you don't actually have it until it's delivered. Tomorrow is always in transit. So, tomorrow isn't a place that vanishes or appears from thin air. It's more like a constant becoming. Each second of today creates the next second, and eventually, the next day. Our actions right now are building the future, building tomorrow. It reminds us that the only real moment we truly possess is this one, right now. The past is history, and the future is yet to be written by our present choices. It's a gentle reminder to live fully in the now, knowing that each moment shapes what tomorrow will bring. Is the past still there? Have you ever stopped to wonder where yesterday actually goes? Or last year? We usually think of time as a straight line, always moving forward. The past is behind us, gone forever. The future is ahead, not here yet. But what if it's not that simple? What if the past isn't truly gone? Some thinkers, from ancient philosophers to modern scientists, have questioned this idea of time vanishing. They suggest that maybe all of time, past, present, and future exists all at once. It's a bit like seeing a road stretch out before you. Just because you've driven past a certain mile marker doesn't mean that mile marker stopped existing. It's still there, just behind you. So, here's the thing. When you look up at the night sky and see the light from a distant star, you're not seeing the star as it is right now. You're seeing it as it was thousands, even millions, of years ago. That light traveled across huge distances to reach your eyes. It's a tiny piece of that star's past, arriving in your present moment. It shows how the past is still reaching us. Think about a photograph. When you hold an old picture of your grandparents from when they were young, you're holding a frozen moment of their past. That instant isn't just a memory. It's captured on that paper, still there. And this makes you think, if moments from long ago can still reach us, or be held onto, does it mean our own past, all our yesterdays, are also still somewhere? It's a deep thought. It means every laugh, every tear, every choice you've ever made might not be simply erased. Perhaps they continue to exist in some form, shaping us. It makes you wonder about the true nature of time and our place within it. The problem with forever, have you ever really thought about forever? Not just a long time, but forever, forever. It's a word we use easily, isn't it? This movie goes on forever. Or I'll love ice cream forever. But what if something truly, literally lasted without end? The very idea can feel a bit strange, even unsettling. When we talk about ontological mysteries, we're wondering about the nature of being, of existence itself. And here's the thing, if something never ends, it might not truly be in the way we understand things. Thinkers for thousands of years have wrestled with this. Ancient Greeks, for example, wondered if the universe itself was eternal, or if it had a beginning and an end. They imagined gods who lived forever, outside of our normal time. But even for them, living forever wasn't always seen as a simple blessing. Sometimes it was a heavy burden, a loneliness that stretched out without limit. How do you find meaning in something that has no finish line? Imagine you're playing your favorite video game. It's fun, right? You have goals, levels, a story that moves forward, but what if the game just never ended? No final boss, no credits, just endless, repeating levels, forever. After a while, wouldn't the fun fade? Wouldn't the goals lose their meaning if you could never truly achieve them, or if new ones just popped up without end? The journey becomes the only thing, but without a destination. Even the journey loses its point. So, forever sounds grand, but it might actually be a problem for meaning. Our minds seem built to understand beginnings and ends, growth and change. Maybe the beauty of life, and even of the universe, is in its moments, its transformations, and yes, its limits. Perhaps, having an end, or at least the possibility of one, is what gives everything its precious shape and story. It gives things weight. What if everything changes? Have you ever stopped to think about how things are always in motion, always shifting? We often see the world as solid and fixed. But what if that's just how we perceive it? What if, at its deepest level, everything is always changing, never truly still? This isn't just about seasons turning or people growing older. It's about the very nature of existence itself. Long ago, a wise Greek thinker named Heraclitus pondered this deeply. He famously said, "You can't step into the same river twice." Think about that. When you step into a river, the water around you is always flowing. If you step out and then back in, it's new water, and you, too, are a tiny bit different. Heraclitus believed change wasn't just happening to things, change was the thing. Everything is like that river, always flowing, always becoming new. It's like the cells in your own body. They are always replacing themselves. The skin cells you have today won't be the exact same ones next month. Even your bones slowly renew over time. So, are you the exact same person you were 7 years ago, if most of your cells are new? Or are you a constantly changing being, a flowing river of yourself? This isn't just about getting older, it's about the very parts that make you up. This leads to a really deep question. If everything is always in flux, if nothing ever truly stays the same, what does it mean for anything to be permanent? Maybe reality isn't a solid block, but more like a never-ending dance. It can feel a little strange to think about, but here's the thing. Accepting this constant change helps us understand the world better. Life isn't about finding something fixed and holding on to it. Instead, it's about learning to flow with what comes, to adapt, and to find beauty in the constant motion of everything. It's about being okay with not every question having one solid answer. How do we define true? Have you ever thought about what true means? It seems simple, right? Like the sky is blue is true, or my name is your name is true. But here's the thing. When we dig deeper, the idea of truth can get surprisingly complex. For thousands of years, people wrestled with this idea. Ancient Greeks, for instance, wondered if truth was fixed and perfect, or just what we agreed upon. They asked, is something true because it matches reality, or because it works? They kept asking big questions. Think about it. Is a certain song good for you? Maybe. For someone else, maybe not. That's about taste. It feels different from saying the sun is a star, right? The sun is a scientific fact. It doesn't depend on if you like it. But what about I feel sad? That's true for you in that moment. No one else can really say it's not true, because it's your inner feeling. So, we have different kinds of true. There are truths about the world, truths about our feelings, and even truths groups of people agree on. Sometimes, what we thought was true turns out not to be. For a long time, people believed the earth was flat. That felt true to them. But then, new observations showed us the earth is round. This helps us see that our understanding of truth can change and grow. So, true isn't just one simple thing. Maybe it's a vast landscape with many paths. Our journey involves exploring them, always wondering, always learning. It's about being open to new ideas and seeing how they fit. It's a quiet invitation to keep asking, to keep looking. Is there an end to space? Have you ever looked up at the stars on a clear night and felt really small, like a tiny speck in something unbelievably huge? Then, a question might pop into your mind. Does space go on forever, or does it eventually stop? This is one of the biggest mysteries. Our brains are wired to imagine things with edges. A room has walls. So, when we think about space, our minds try to picture an end, a giant wall, maybe, or a place where everything just stops. But what would be beyond that? Nothing at all. And if it's nothing, what does nothing even look like? It's hard to imagine, right? For thousands of years, people have wondered. Ancient thinkers sat under the same stars. They wondered if the universe had a boundary, like a giant bubble, or was it truly limitless, stretching out without any end? Modern science gives us clues. The universe is expanding, like a giant balloon, but that doesn't mean it has an edge in the way we usually imagine. Here's a way to think about it. Imagine you're a tiny ant walking on the surface of a huge smooth balloon. You can walk forever. You will never find an edge to the surface. You just keep going. You might even come back to where you started. The surface is endless for you, even though the balloon is a contained object. Our universe might be something like that. It could be vast and curved, without a clear stopping point, but not necessarily infinite. So, does space end? We don't have a simple yes or no answer. It might be endless, or it might loop back on itself. But the real wonder isn't just in knowing the answer. It's in asking the question. It's in looking up at that night sky and feeling that deep curiosity. It helps us feel connected to something much bigger. It reminds us how much there is still to explore in the cosmos and in our own minds too. The mystery of identity. Have you ever really thought about who you are? Not just your name or what you like to do, but the deepest part of you. Here's the thing. That feeling of being you is one of life's biggest puzzles. We wake up each day feeling like the same person, even though our bodies change, our thoughts change, and our experiences pile up. But what makes you stay you? For hundreds of years, thinkers have wondered about this. Ancient Greek philosophers, like Plato, believed there was a true, unchanging soul inside us. This was supposed to be the real you, something that stayed the same no matter what. Later, a thinker named John Locke had a different idea. He thought our identity comes from our memories. If you remember being a certain person, then you are that person. It's like a story you tell yourself, and that story makes you you. But here's the problem. Think about a video game character. They have a certain look and skills. What if you change their clothes, their hair, even their abilities? Is it still the same character? Or what about when you were little? You probably can't remember much. From when you were 2 years old, are you still the same person as that 2-year-old, even with no memory of it? And it gets deeper. Our brains are always changing, growing new connections, losing old ones. Science shows us that our very cells are replaced over time. So, if every part of you physically changes and your memories shift, what's the thread that connects the you of yesterday to the you of today and to the you of tomorrow? This mystery isn't about finding one right answer. It's about noticing that incredible, quiet feeling of being present, of just being. It's a gentle reminder that identity might be less about something solid and more about a constant, unfolding journey. Can you step in the same river twice? Have you ever thought about a river? When you step into its flowing water, and then step out, and then step back in a moment later, is it the same river? This might seem like a simple question, but it's actually one of the deepest mysteries about how things exist. An old Greek thinker named Heraclitus, who lived a really long time ago, said you can't. He believed that everything is always changing. The water flowing past you is new every second. The riverbed itself is slowly wearing away, and new bits of earth are moving into place. So, even though we call it the same river, it's never truly identical to what it was a moment before. It's always becoming something new. Here's the thing. This idea isn't just about rivers. Think about yourself. Are you the exact same person right now as you were 5 minutes ago, or even yesterday? Every single moment your body is changing. Old cells die, new ones are born. Your mind is always learning, forgetting, adding new thoughts, and shifting old feelings. Maybe you learned a new fact in class, or had a different feeling about something. Just like the river, you are constantly flowing, always becoming. You are a different you with every passing second, even though we use the same name for you. This might sound a little strange, but it's how life works. It means that nothing is truly fixed. Everything is in motion, always transforming. It's a quiet reminder that change isn't something to fear. It's the very nature of existence. Life is like that river, always moving, always fresh, and always ready for you to step into a slightly new experience. And that's a pretty cool thought. What is self? Have you ever stopped to think about you? Not your name or what you look like, but that inner sense, the feeling of being you. That's the self. It's the unique mix of your thoughts, feelings, memories, and choices. It's what makes you different from everyone else, even your best friend or your sibling. For a long time, people have wondered about this self. Ancient thinkers asked big questions about it. Much later, a philosopher named René Descartes had a famous idea. He said, "I think, therefore I am." This means that the very act of thinking, of wondering, of questioning, proves you exist. It shows there's a you in there doing the thinking. But some cultures believe the self isn't just inside your head. They see it as connected to everyone and everything around you, like a tiny wave that's part of a huge ocean. Consider this. Think about how you were when you were a little kid. You might have loved a certain toy, or had different ideas. You've grown, learned new things, and changed so much. But somehow, you still know it's you. It's like a river. The water is always new, always moving, but it's still the same river, flowing in the same direction. Yourself is a bit like that river, always changing, always moving forward, yet still uniquely yours. The self is not a fixed thing, like a statue. It's more like a living story, always being written. Every experience you have, every new idea you learn, every person you meet, adds a new line to that story. It means the mystery of who you are is always unfolding, always becoming something new, a quiet journey of discovery. Do animals think like us? When you look into the eyes of a dog, or watch a cat stalk a toy, a question might quietly form in your mind. Do they have thoughts like yours? Do they plan things? Do they remember the past? For a very long time, many believed humans were special, the only ones who truly thought deeply or felt complex emotions. Animals were often seen more like living machines, just reacting to instinct. Think about René Descartes, a famous thinker from hundreds of years ago. He believed animals didn't have minds or feelings like humans. He saw them as complicated clocks, built only to react. But even back then, some disagreed. They watched animals closely, seeing clues that suggested more: sadness, joy, even trickery. These observations hinted that there was a deeper, hidden world inside animal brains. But here's the thing. Modern science, especially in recent decades, has started to change our minds. Take crows. Scientists have watched them use tools, like bending wire to get food from a tube. This isn't just instinct. It shows problem solving. It's like when you try to open a tricky jar and keep trying different ways until it works. Or think about elephants mourning their dead, or chimps learning to communicate. Their mental worlds might be much richer than we once thought. They might not use words like we do, but their actions speak volumes about their understanding, and that's why it matters. This journey into animal minds changes how we see our place. It makes us think about what thinking truly means. Maybe it's not just about complex words or solving big math problems. Maybe it's about connecting, learning, and finding ways to live in the world around us. It's a deep mystery, inviting us to look closer, with more respect, at all the living things. We share this planet with knowledge is always growing, and what we thought was true yesterday might change tomorrow. The unspoken understanding. Have you ever just known something without anyone telling you, like a feeling in your gut, or a sense of what's about to happen? That's kind of what we mean by the unspoken understanding. It's about ideas or truths that are too deep, too basic, or too real to be captured perfectly by words. Language is amazing, but it has limits. Some things just exist beyond what we can say or write. Think about it this way. For thousands of years, people have felt things that words couldn't quite touch. Ancient thinkers, like some Greek philosophers, wondered if perfect ideas existed, even if we couldn't fully describe them. It's like understanding pure joy or deep sadness without needing someone to list adjectives. You just feel it. The understanding is there, right inside you, not needing a dictionary. Here's a good example. Imagine you're with your best friend, and they're really quiet. You don't need them to say, "I'm feeling sad right now." You just know. You see it in their eyes, in the way they're sitting. Your mind picks up on tiny clues, and you understand their mood, even without a single word. That connection, that shared knowing, goes beyond talking. It's a kind of quiet communication, a deep sense of what's happening. This idea stretches into bigger mysteries too. It reminds us that some of the most powerful truths might not be found in books or speeches. They might be found in the quiet moments, in shared glances, or in the feeling of being truly present. It's a reminder that not everything needs to be explained to be understood. Sometimes, the deepest understanding is simply felt, a quiet knowing that connects us to something larger than ourselves. It's a beautiful thought, isn't it? That some mysteries are meant to be felt, not just talked about. Why do we feel? Have you ever really stopped to think about why we have feelings? Not just what they are, but why they even exist in the first place. It's a bit of a mystery, isn't it? We experience so much joy, sadness, anger, fear, surprise, disgust. These aren't just random waves that wash over us. Instead, feelings are like a secret language our bodies and minds use. They're signals, telling us things about the world around us and what's happening inside us. For a long time, thinkers have tried to figure this out. Ancient Greek philosophers, like Aristotle, believed our emotions were linked to our character and how we understood the world. They thought feelings could guide us towards good choices, but also sometimes lead us astray if we weren't careful. Later, some scientists began to see feelings more as reactions. They thought of them like a built-in alarm system or a reward system that helps us survive and get along. For instance, imagine you're walking and suddenly feel a jolt of fear when a car speeds by too close. That fear isn't just uncomfortable. It's a quick warning that helps you step back and stay safe. Or think about the warm, happy feeling you get when you're laughing with your friends. That feeling tells you that connection is good, that belonging makes life better. So, maybe feelings are part of how we make sense of life. They help us react to danger, connect with others, and understand what we truly value. They add color and depth to our experiences, making life rich and meaningful. Even when feelings are tough, they're still teaching us something important about ourselves and the world we live in. They are a big part of what it means to be human, even if the deep why behind them remains a beautiful puzzle. What is beauty, really? Have you ever stopped to really think about what makes something beautiful? Is it just a pretty face, or a cool sunset, or a perfectly scored goal? We see things and feel a pull, a sense of wonder. But what is that feeling? This is one of those big mysteries. For a long time, people have tried to figure out beauty. The ancient Greeks, for instance, wondered if true beauty was a perfect, unchanging idea, something almost spiritual. They thought a beautiful statue was just a hint of this ideal. It was a big truth. But then, other thinkers came along and said, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. This means what one person finds beautiful, another might not. So, is it something out there, or something in here, inside us? Here's the thing. Think about a simple, everyday moment. Maybe it's the way light falls through the leaves in a park, making everything look soft. Or maybe it's a piece of music that just moves you, not just sounds nice, but makes you feel something deep inside. It's not just good or pretty, it feels right, like a perfectly solved math problem. The answer just clicks, and there's an elegance to it. So beauty might not be a thing you can point to, but more like a deep feeling or a connection. It's that moment when something just makes sense, or feels perfectly complete. It makes us pause. It reminds us there's something wonderful in the world, something that touches us, even if we can't quite put it into words. And that's what makes it such a lasting mystery. Is there a universal language? Imagine a world where everyone, everywhere, understood each other perfectly, without needing a translator. Is that even possible? We use different spoken languages all around the globe, like English, Spanish, Mandarin. But what if there was a deeper way we could all communicate? A language not made of words, but something else entirely. For a long time, thinkers have wondered about this. Some ancient philosophers thought maybe math was a universal language, because numbers and equations are the same no matter where you are. 2 plus 2 equals 4 in every corner of the earth. Others looked to music, arguing that a sad melody makes almost everyone feel a little blue, no matter their culture. Music seems to speak to something inside us that words sometimes miss. Here's the thing. Maybe this universal language isn't about specific sounds or symbols at all. Maybe it's about shared human experience. Think about how you feel when you see someone cry, even if you don't know why they're sad or what language they speak. You feel a pang of sympathy, or how a baby knows when their parent is happy or worried, just by their tone of voice or facial expression, long before they understand any words. That's a kind of understanding that goes beyond spoken language. It's an understanding of emotion. So, when we wonder if there's a language everyone knows, perhaps we're really asking if there's a way we're all connected. It's not a code we learn from a book. It might be the silent language of feelings, of shared joy or sorrow, of simple kindness. It's the way we connect on a very basic human level. This idea quietly reminds us that, beneath all our differences, we might understand each other more than we realize. It makes the world feel a little smaller, a little more connected, doesn't it? The problem with infinity here, if you ever really tried to picture infinity, it's a word we use a lot, like when we say the stars go on forever, or that our love for pizza is infinite. But what does forever truly mean? Can something really just ... never end? Here's the thing about infinity. It's not a number you can count to. You can't reach it. It's more of an idea, a concept of something boundless, without limits. But many deep thinkers, centuries ago, scratched their heads over this. The ancient Greeks, for example, found it troubling. How can something exist if it has no end? If you have an endless line, where do you even begin to measure it? For them, things needed clear boundaries to be real. Infinity felt like a mystery, something that broke their neat rules of logic. It was hard to grasp. Don't think about counting. You can always add one more. 1, 2, 3, and you can keep going forever. No matter how big a number you imagine, you can always think of one bigger. That's infinity showing up in everyday math. Or picture looking into a mirrored room. One reflection bounces to another, then another, creating an endless tunnel of images. You can see it, but you can't ever get to the end of it. So, the problem isn't just that infinity is huge. It's that it defies our way of thinking. Our brains like beginnings and ends. Infinity doesn't play by those rules. It reminds us that some concepts might always be just beyond our full grasp. It's a little humbling, isn't it? To realize some mysteries might forever remain mysteries, not because we're not smart enough, but because they exist outside the very limits of how we can think and speak. It makes you wonder about the vastness of what we don't know. What makes a moment? Have you ever really stopped to wonder what makes a moment a moment? Is it just a single second ticking by on a clock? Or is there something deeper happening when we experience a truly unforgettable instant? This is a big question, because moments aren't just about measuring time. They are about how we feel time, how we give it meaning. A clock shows time moving at a steady pace, second after second. But our lives don't always feel that way. Some hours fly by, while others stretch out, slow and heavy. This idea that time can feel different depending on our experience isn't new. Philosophers long ago wondered if a moment is just out there, or if we help create it with our attention and feelings. They understood that even a tiny flash of time could hold a huge amount of experience, or sometimes just vanish into nothing. Imagine you're playing a video game at a critical point, or maybe you're trying to land a difficult skateboard trick. Everything else fades away. Your focus becomes sharp. The world shrinks to just that one task, that one instant. In that intense focus, time can seem to slow down, or even disappear entirely. You're not thinking about the past or the future. You are completely in that tiny slice of time. That's a powerful moment. It's not just a second, it's a lived second, packed with your full awareness. So a moment isn't some fixed universal thing. It's personal. It's a mix of actual time passing and our own unique way of experiencing it. It's what we choose to give our complete attention to, what we feel deeply, or what truly stands out. Knowing this can shift how we look at our days. It suggests that the most powerful moments are often the ones we truly show up for, the ones where we let ourselves be fully present. Every part of our journey holds a chance to be truly felt and deeply remembered. Can you divide forever? Have you ever thought about taking something, anything at all, and cutting it in half? Then taking one of those halves and cutting it in half again, and then doing that over and over. Does it ever stop? Or could you keep going forever, making smaller and smaller pieces, without ever truly reaching nothing? This is one of those deep questions that messes with our minds. It asks if things in the world can be divided infinitely, or if there's a smallest possible piece. Long ago, ancient Greek thinkers wondered about this exact thing. One famous philosopher, Zeno, came up with puzzles to show how tricky this idea is. He had a story about a fast runner, Achilles, trying to catch a slow tortoise. Zeno argued that Achilles would never reach the tortoise because he would always have to cover half the remaining distance first, and then half of that remaining distance, and so on. There would always be a tiny bit of distance left, no matter how small. It's not about how fast they run, but about the idea of distance itself being endlessly divisible. Here's an everyday example. Imagine you're walking from one side of your room to the other. Before you reach the opposite wall, you first have to walk halfway there. Then, before you reach the wall from that halfway point, you have to walk half of that distance. And you could keep splitting that remaining distance in half, forever. You'd always be getting closer, but mathematically, there would always be a little bit more distance to cover. It's like the journey never truly ends, because there's always a smaller step to take. This idea of endless dividing, whether it's space, time, or even a thought, makes us wonder about the very fabric of reality. Our brains like to see clear beginnings and endings, solid things and empty spaces. But what if space itself, or time, can be split into smaller and smaller bits without end? It's not just a math problem. It's a mystery about how the universe is built. Thinking about it can make you feel quiet and small, realizing that some of the deepest truths might be forever beyond our full grasp, just waiting for us to ponder them in wonder. The question of purpose. Have you ever looked up at the night sky, or just at your own hand, and quietly wondered, why is any of this here? We often think about what things do. A chair's job is to be sat on. A tree grows leaves and gives oxygen. But the question of purpose goes much deeper. It asks why something exists at all. Is there a reason for everything? Is there a grand plan for the universe, or for us? This isn't a new thought. For thousands of years, people have pondered this mystery. Ancient thinkers and wise storytellers wondered, did the universe have a designer, someone who set everything in motion with a specific goal, or do things just happen? Does existence simply is without an external reason? This question touches everything, from science to faith. But at its heart, it's about meaning itself. Don't think about a river. Its purpose is to flow, to carry water, to shape the land. That's what it does. But what's the deeper purpose of the river being a river? Why does it exist? Does it have a reason for its own existence beyond just its function? For us, it's similar. We do things every day, go to school, play sports, connect with friends. But what is the underlying reason for us to be here? Experiencing all of this question can feel really big, maybe even a little overwhelming. But here's the thing, you don't need all the answers. Many brilliant minds have explored this, and they haven't found one simple answer. Sometimes, the greatest purpose isn't in a clear explanation. It's in the journey of asking the question itself. This connects us to a shared human wonder. It reminds us that just being here, feeling curious and alive, can be a purpose all its own. It's a quiet reflection that makes the universe feel both vast and personal. How do we choose? Think about your day. You picked your clothes, maybe what to eat for breakfast. Every moment seems full of decisions. But here's a deep question. How do we truly make them? Is it really us choosing freely? Or are our decisions already shaped by things we can't control? This is the heart of a big mystery called free will. It asks if our path is set before we walk it, or if we truly pick our own way. People have thought about this for thousands of years. Some believed in fate, that everything is already decided for us, like a story already written. Others felt we have a special power to choose, to use our minds and reason to guide our actions. It's like a long argument about what truly guides us in life. Think of it like choosing your favorite snack. You feel you just want that chocolate bar. It feels like your choice, right? But maybe you saw an ad for it earlier, or you're just tired, and your body craves quick energy. Was it truly your free choice, or did those hidden things guide you toward that specific snack? Scientists who study the brain sometimes see that our brains get ready for a decision even before we feel we've made it. This might make you wonder. It's like your mind is already leaning toward an answer before you consciously say yes or no. So, does this mean our choices aren't really ours? Not quite. It just shows how deep this mystery is. Every choice, big or small, helps write your story. It's a quiet wonder how we navigate the world, making our way one decision at a time. And in that quiet wonder, we learn a bit more about what it means to be human. The silence after a sound. Have you ever truly listened to the moment after a loud noise? Not just the fading echo, but the quiet that settles in right after. It's a different kind of quiet than silence that was always there. Think about it. A drum bangs, loud and sudden, then it's gone. What's left? A silence that feels full of the memory of the sound. This isn't just no sound. It's a specific kind of quiet, almost like a ghost of what was. It makes us wonder about what nothing really is. Is silence just the absence of noise, or is it its own kind of presence? For thousands of years, thinkers have pondered this. Some ancient philosophers didn't see silence as empty. They saw it as holding space, as a place where new things could begin, or where truths could be heard more clearly. It was a canvas, not just an erased drawing. Here's an example. Imagine you hit a tuning fork. It rings with a clear, steady hum. You hold it, you listen. Then, slowly, the sound gets softer and softer until it finally disappears. In that moment, when the sound has completely faded, there's a quiet. That quiet isn't the same as the quiet before you struck the fork. It feels different, doesn't it? It's almost like the air still hums, even though you can't hear it anymore. It's a silence shaped by the sound that just left, and that's why it matters. This unique silence, the one that follows something, makes us pause. It's a space for reflection. It tells us that even when something ends, it leaves a mark. The silence after a sound reminds us that even when things seem to vanish, they often leave behind a profound, subtle echo in the world. And in us, it invites us to notice the quiet in between, to find meaning not just in what happens, but in the stillness that follows. What is awareness? Have you ever stopped for a moment and truly noticed what's happening around you, or even inside you? That feeling, that sense of knowing you are experiencing something, that's a glimpse of awareness. It's not just seeing with your eyes or hearing with your ears. It's the feeling of knowing that you are seeing, that you are hearing, that you are feeling. It's being awake to your own existence, right here, right now. Think about it like this. Your brain is a super powerful computer, processing tons of information all the time. But awareness is like the light that lets you actually see what's on the screen. It's that inner feeling of I am here, and I am experiencing this. It's what makes you different from a simple machine. For thousands of years, people have wondered about this deep mystery. Ancient Greek thinkers and wise people from all over the world pondered it. They didn't have brain scanners, but they knew there was something special about how humans could observe the world, and even observe their own thoughts and feelings. They saw it as a deep part of being alive. It's not just a thing your brain does. It's more like the stage where all your thoughts and feelings play out. Here's an example. Imagine you're walking home from school. Are you just putting one foot in front of the other, lost in thought? Or are you truly aware of the sun on your face, the sound of birds, the feeling of your backpack, and even the specific thought that just popped into your head? When you take a deep breath and just focus on the air going in and out, that's awareness. You're noticing something simple but profound. It's about being present. So, awareness is this quiet, powerful part of you that simply notices. It lets you connect to the world around you in a deeper way. It lets you understand yourself better, too. It's a bit like having a silent observer inside you, always paying attention. And it reminds us that there's a profound richness to simply existing, to just being here, right now. It's a gift we all share, this incredible state of being. The mind's own movie. Have you ever stopped to think about what you're really seeing, hearing, or feeling right now? Is it exactly as it is, out there in the world, or is something else happening? Here's the thing, your brain is constantly making its own movie. It's not just watching, it's directing, producing, and starring in a show unique to you. This internal movie is what you experience as your reality. Think about it like this. Your eyes take in light, your ears pick up sounds, your skin feels touch. These are just raw signals, but that raw information isn't what you experience. Your brain takes all those signals and stitches them together, almost like editing a film. It adds colors, gives meaning to shapes, creates full sounds from simple vibrations. It uses your memories, past experiences, and even what you expect to happen, to build the world you perceive, moment by moment. It's an active process, not just a mirror reflecting what's outside. For thousands of years, smart people have wondered about this deep mystery. Ancient Greek thinkers, like the philosopher Plato, imagined people trapped in a cave, seeing only shadows on a wall. They thought maybe our everyday reality is like those shadows, just a reflection or a version of something deeper and truer. Later, other thinkers wondered if anything truly existed outside their own thoughts and senses. It's a pretty deep idea. If your mind builds your world, how do you know what's really out there? Here's a simple example. When you look up at the clouds on a sunny day, you often see shapes, right? Maybe a dragon, or a rabbit, or even a giant hand. The clouds themselves are just water vapor floating in the sky, but your mind takes those messy, formless clouds and projects familiar shapes onto them. Your brain is creating that dragon for you, giving it form and meaning. It's making sense of something that doesn't inherently have that exact form on its own. So the world we experience, in many ways, is a special showing, played just for us, inside our own heads. It's a marvel, really, this constant, silent creation that shapes every waking moment. And it makes you wonder how much of what we truly experience is out there beyond us, and how much is the amazing, personal movie our minds are always running. It's a mystery woven into the very fabric of just being alive. Why do things exist? Have you ever looked around at a tall tree, or a bustling street, or even just your own hand, and wondered, why is any of this here? It's a very simple question, but also one of the deepest mysteries we know. We see the world, full of things, full of people, full of stars. But why is there something instead of nothing at all? This question has puzzled thinkers for thousands of years. People long ago, like the ancient Greek philosophers, sat and stared at the sky or the ocean and asked, how did all this come to be? They weren't just curious about how a building was built, but why there was even stone to build with, or a world to build on. They asked about the very beginning, the core reason for everything. Many cultures have stories about creation, trying to explain how the world popped into being, perhaps from a void, or from a single spark. And today, scientists explore ideas like the Big Bang, trying to figure out how the universe itself started. Think about your favorite song. It exists, right? You can hear it, feel its rhythm. But why does that particular arrangement of notes and words exist? Someone created it, but where did their inspiration come from? Where did the sound itself come from? Or the air it travels through? It's like peeling back layers, each answer leading to an even bigger question. We can trace things back, step by step, but eventually, we hit a wall where the answer isn't clear. We don't know why the fundamental building blocks of everything exist, or why they decided to make a universe instead of just not being there. Here's the thing, we don't have a simple answer, and maybe that's okay. The mystery itself is part of what makes life interesting. It reminds us how much there is still to wonder about, to explore, to simply be amazed by. This question isn't meant to make us feel lost, but to open our minds to the incredible fact that we are here, in a world that exists, and that alone is a profound thought to carry with you. What is an object? We look around us, and we see so many things. A desk, a book, the cup on your table. We call these objects. They seem so real, so solid, so clearly there. But have you ever stopped to wonder what truly makes something an object? What separates a thing from not a thing at all? It's a question that sounds simple, but quickly becomes deep. For a long, long time, people have thought about this. Ancient thinkers wondered if the things we see are truly real, or if they're just echoes of perfect, unchanging ideas that exist somewhere else. Later, modern science found that even the most solid-looking object is mostly empty space, made of tiny, tiny particles zipping around incredibly fast. So, Is a table an object because it feels solid to us? Or is it an object because we decide it's a table and give it a name? It makes you think. Consider a cloud in the sky. It looks like a clear, puffy shape, right? You can point to it and say, look, a cloud, but it's not really a solid thing you can pick up. It's just tiny water droplets and ice crystals moving together in the air. The water itself isn't staying in one spot. It's constantly changing, swirling, and drifting. Is the cloud a single object? Or is it more like a temporary happening, always shifting? What about a feeling, like happiness or sadness? It's absolutely real to you, but you can't hold it in your hand. Here's the thing. Our minds play a surprisingly big role in how we see objects. We group certain parts of the world together and give them boundaries and names. We create the idea of a chair because we use it for sitting, and that purpose makes it a distinct thing in our minds. But when we dig deeper, the idea of an object gets a little fuzzy around the edges. It makes you wonder if the world is not just a bunch of totally separate things, but perhaps a flowing, connected whole, and we're the ones drawing the lines. It's a quiet thought, but it changes how you see everything. Can we know what others see? Have you ever really thought about what it means to see? We often assume that everyone sees the world in exactly the same way. We look at a green tree, and we just believe everyone else sees that same shade of green. But here's the thing. Your eyes take in light, and then your brain turns that light into images, colors, and shapes. And that brain is yours, a unique part of you. For hundreds of years, deep thinkers have wondered about this very idea. Early philosophers, like a person named John Locke from a long time ago, asked if the qualities we experience, like color or the taste of an apple, are truly out there in the world itself. Or are these qualities something our own minds create? When we interact with the world, he suggested that maybe the apple itself isn't red, but it has qualities that make us see it as red dot. Think about colors for a moment. Maybe what you call blue and I call blue actually feels different inside our own minds. Imagine someone who is colorblind. They might see a dull gray or brown where you see a vibrant red. They learn to call that gray-brown red because that's what everyone else says it is. But their internal experience is completely different from yours. So, when you both point at a stop sign and say, it's red, you might be talking about totally different inner sensations. This makes you think, how much of the world is truly shared between us, and how much is built uniquely inside each of our heads? We can never truly step into another person's mind and see through their eyes. We can talk about what we see, describe it, and try to understand each other. But that private, deep feeling of redness or the feeling of softness remains yours. Alone, it's a beautiful mystery, reminding us that each mind is its own universe, full of unique ways of seeing. This is why it matters to listen to others. Their view, even if different, is real for them. The problem with right and wrong. Have you ever felt completely sure something was right, only to find someone else thought it was wrong? It happens. This isn't just about opinions on pizza. This goes much deeper, touching what we believe about the world. The idea of right and wrong feels certain, but here's the thing. It's one of the biggest mysteries that defies easy answers. For a long time, people have wrestled with this. Wise people, for ages, from many cultures, all asked, where do these ideas of good and bad come from? Are they whispered to us by something divine? Are they carved into our very nature, like a hidden code in our hearts? Or are they just rules we make up to help us live together, like traffic laws? The problem is, no one has ever quite agreed. Think about it like this. Imagine a classroom where talking during a test is clearly wrong. Everyone knows this. But what if someone talks to whisper a warning about a fire, saving everyone? Was that still wrong? Suddenly, the clear line gets blurry. It shows us that what we think is right or wrong can depend a lot on the situation, on our intentions and the bigger picture. This isn't about saying good or bad deeds don't exist. It's about realizing how tricky it is to find a single source for these ideas. It's about understanding that what we call true or good isn't always fixed like a mountain. Instead, it's more like the tide, always moving, shaped by unseen forces. It makes us think, maybe wisdom isn't about finding the answer, but understanding the question better. This mystery asks us to look closely, question our assumptions, and see the world with more wonder. Is logic a law of the world? Have you ever thought if the world itself follows rules, like a giant game with unseen laws? We use logic daily, often without noticing. Logic is the study of good reasoning. It's about how ideas connect, so they make sense, like puzzle pieces fitting. If you know all birds have feathers, and a robin is a bird, then it must be true that a robin has feathers. That's logic. For thousands of years, people have asked if these logical rules are just things we create in our minds, or if they are built into the universe itself. Can something be true and false at the same time in reality? The ancient Greek thinker Aristotle spent time on this question. He asked if logic was just how we organize thoughts, or if the universe itself had to follow these patterns. Consider gravity. If you drop a ball, it falls down. That's a law of physics. We don't expect it to float. Logic works similarly, but with ideas. If you have two friends, and one always tells the truth, the other always lies, you use logic to figure out who is saying what. You follow their words to reach a good answer. This can help you understand things in daily life, or how scientists use logical steps to prove things in experiments. So, when we see the world, do we find logic because it's really there, like natural laws, or do we just make sense of the world by using our own logical way of thinking? It's a deep mystery. Maybe our minds are made to understand a world that already has a deep, logical structure. It makes you think about the quiet order beneath everything, a harmony that shapes reality. What is time travel? Have you ever wondered what it would be like to step outside of now, to visit yesterday, or even tomorrow? When we hear time travel, most of us instantly think of a sci-fi movie, a fancy machine that zips someone through the years. But here's the thing, the idea of moving through time, beyond just living it second by second, is a much deeper mystery than any movie plot can capture. It touches on questions about reality itself. For a long time, people thought of time as a simple, straight line, much like a river flowing by. You're always moving downstream, and you can't go back. It felt fixed and unchangeable. But about 100 years ago, a brilliant scientist named Albert Einstein gave us a totally different idea. He said time isn't separate from space at all. They're woven together into one thing he called space-time. And in this invisible fabric, time can actually bend or stretch. This bending happens depending on how fast you're moving or how strong the gravity is around you. This means that, in a very real, tiny way, everyone is always time traveling into the future, just at slightly different speeds. Think about astronauts on the International Space Station. Because they are moving so fast, they actually age ever so slightly slower than we do here on Earth. They are, in a true sense, travelers to a slightly different future moment. Consider this simple, everyday example. When you look up at the night sky and see a distant star, you're not seeing it as it is right this very second. You're actually seeing it as it was years, maybe even thousands or millions of years ago. That star's light took all that incredible time to travel across space and finally reach your eyes. So, simply by looking, you are, in a way, looking directly into the past. This shows us that time travel isn't just about some impossible gadget or a fantasy. It's about how we truly understand the very nature of existence itself. It makes us wonder if the past is truly gone forever, or if the future is already laid out, just waiting. Maybe the real, most profound journey isn't through a machine we build, but through our own minds and how we connect to the endless, mysterious unfolding of every single moment. The puzzle of our own existence. Have you ever just stopped and truly wondered, why am I here? Not like, why am I in this classroom? But why are you even you? This deep personal feeling of being alive, of having your own thoughts and feelings, is one of the biggest mysteries we face. It's about what makes us conscious, what makes us aware that we exist. We can touch things, see colors, hear sounds, but how do we know we are the ones doing the touching, seeing, and hearing? People have thought about this for thousands of years. Long ago, ancient philosophers in places like Greece wondered about the self and what it meant to have a soul. Later, a very famous French thinker named René Descartes came up with a simple but powerful idea. He said, "I think, therefore I am." What he meant was, if you can even ask the question, do I exist, then you must exist to ask it. Your thoughts are proof that you are real. That's a powerful thought, right? Here's the thing. Think about your own hand. You can look at it, you can wiggle your fingers, you know it's your hand, and you can feel it too. But how does that collection of cells, bones, and nerves become something you control? How does it connect to the you inside your head, the one thinking these thoughts? It's like you're a complex machine. but also the driver of the machine, and you're also the feeling of driving it. It's mind-bending. This puzzle of simply being, of being you and no one else, is a quiet wonder. It means you have a totally unique view of the world, different from every other person. It's a mystery that can make you feel both incredibly small and incredibly important at the same time. And that feeling, that deep sense of personal existence, is something pretty amazing to just sit with and consider. What is nothingness? Have you ever really tried to think about nothing? It sounds simple, right? Like an empty room has nothing in it. But is that true nothingness? Or is it just a room, only without stuff? Here's the thing. Real nothingness is way harder to picture. When we talk about nothingness in a deep way, we're not just talking about an empty space or a missing object. We're talking about the complete absence of everything. No light, no sound, no time, no space, no thoughts, no feelings, not even an idea of nothingness itself. It's a concept that messes with our brains because our minds are made to understand things that are there. People have thought about this for thousands of years. Ancient thinkers and wise people in different parts of the world wondered what was before the universe started. Was there truly nothing? Or was it just a different kind of something we can't even imagine? It's a puzzle that doesn't have an easy answer. Think about it like this. Imagine you're about to write a story. Before you pick up your pen, before you even have an idea, what's there? Is it nothing? Not really. There's still you, the paper, the pen, the air. Your brain is ready to create. True nothingness would be if there wasn't even the possibility of a story, a pen, or even you. It's hard to wrap our heads around something with no features, no size, no color, no beginning, no end. So, when we try to grasp nothingness, we quickly realize how much our minds rely on something. It pushes us to wonder about what existence really means. Maybe nothing isn't just an empty void, but a deep mystery that helps us see how amazing and full of wonder everything is. It makes us appreciate the simple fact that there's something instead of nothing. Can we picture the fourth dimension? Have you ever tried to draw a simple box on a piece of paper? You can show its width and height easily, right? But to make it look like a real box, you have to add lines that give it depth. That's our familiar 3 dimensions: up and down, side to side, and forward and back. So, what about a fourth dimension? Can we actually imagine it in our minds? For most of us, it's really hard. Our brains are built to understand the world in 3 dimensions. Imagine a drawing on paper. It has length and width. If a tiny person lived there, they'd only know those 2 directions. They couldn't understand up off the page. A hand lifting would just look like a weird changing shape to them. Here's the thing. We're a bit like that tiny person. We live in 3 dimensions, and we can't easily picture what it would be like to move in a direction that's not up, down, left, right, forward, or back. But people have thought about this for a long time. Even before Albert Einstein, people wondered about this. Einstein then showed us that time could be seen as a 4th dimension, connected to space. We can't see all of time at once, like we can see all sides of a cube. We only experience one moment after another. But just as a path has many points, our lives stretch out through time. So, while we can't draw a true 4th dimension, or fully imagine it, thinking about it helps us understand the limits of our minds. It reminds us that there might be so much more to reality than what our senses, or even our best drawings, can ever capture. It's a humbling thought, and it opens up a huge sense of wonder about the universe. Maybe some things are just meant to be mysteries, pushing us to ask bigger questions. Asterisk. The mystery of why. Have you ever stopped and truly wondered why anything exists at all? Not just, why is my homework due tomorrow? Or why does gravity pull things down? But a much deeper, wider why. Why is there a universe? Why are we even here to ask questions? This mystery of why is one of the biggest puzzles humans have faced forever. Thinkers from ancient Greece to modern scientists have grappled with it. For centuries, people have looked at the stars, felt the wind, and asked, what's the ultimate reason for all this? They weren't asking for a simple cause and effect, like the ball moved because I kicked it. They were reaching for a purpose, an origin point that explains everything. Here's the thing. For almost any why question, you can usually find an answer. Why did the apple fall? Because of gravity. But then you can ask, why does gravity exist? And the answer might be, because of the way mass interacts. And then, but why does mass interact that way? You keep asking why, like peeling an onion. until you hit a layer where there's no more scientific or logical answer. You're left with a silence, a fundamental mystery. It's like asking, why did this song start playing? Maybe because someone pressed play. But why did they press play? Because they liked the song. But why do they like the song? And why was the song even written? You can chase the why forever, getting closer and closer to something that has no easy explanation. So, this mystery isn't about finding one final, perfect answer. Instead, it's about learning to simply sit with the questions themselves, to let them echo in your mind. It's about understanding that some of the deepest truths might not be answers we can speak or fully grasp, but feelings we can only quietly wonder at. It's a calm acknowledgement that the universe holds secrets far beyond our current understanding, and that's okay. It makes life feel bigger, and perhaps even more special, just knowing that these grand, unanswerable mysteries exist. Do numbers really exist? Think about the number 3. You see it everywhere, right? 3 friends, 3 sides of a triangle, 3 strikes in baseball. But here's the thing, can you actually touch 3? Can you pick it up, or see it floating around by itself? It's not like a rock or a tree. It feels different. So, do numbers truly exist in the world? Or are they just ideas we make up in our minds? People have thought about this for thousands of years. Long ago, the ancient Greek thinker Plato believed numbers were real. He thought they truly existed in a perfect, invisible world. It was like they were always there, waiting for us to find them. But other people believe we invented numbers. We created them as tools. They help us count things, measure stuff, and understand how the world works. They are useful shortcuts for our brains. Think of it like this. When you see 3 birds, the birds are real, but the threeness itself, is that real too? If the birds fly away, does the idea of 3 disappear? Or does it just stay around, ready for the next group of things? Numbers help us make sense of so much. They let us build bridges, send rockets into space, and even predict the weather. So, are numbers like rules that were always there before we started playing? Or are they rules we decided on, so we could play together? It's a deep mystery. Maybe numbers are a bit of both, a language the universe uses that our minds can understand, and also a powerful way our minds organize the things around us. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What is a fact? Have you ever really stopped to think about what a fact is? We use the word all the time. It's a fact, we say, as if it's the most solid, unchanging truth in the world. But what makes something a fact, really? Is it just something true that can't be argued with? Or is there a deeper, more winding path to what we call truth? Here's the thing. Most often when we talk about a fact, we mean something we believe to be true, based on strong proof or evidence. It's something we can observe, measure, or show to be real. Like we say, it's a fact that the sun is a star. We have tons of evidence for that. But even these kinds of facts can be surprisingly complex when you look closely. Thinkers and philosophers, people who spend their lives asking big questions, have wondered about facts for thousands of years. Even way back in ancient Greece, they asked, how do we really know what's true? Is it only what our senses tell us? What if our senses trick us? Or is it what everyone agrees on? They realized that what we call a fact often depends on what we believe and the tools we use to see the world. For a long time, many people believed it was a fact that the earth was flat. Imagine that. Sailors worried they'd fall off the edge. That was their truth, based on what they could see and the simple tools they had. But then, new ideas and better tools came along. Scientists observed shadows on the moon, ships disappearing over the horizon, and the way stars changed as you traveled. Eventually, they figured out the earth was actually round. The fact changed, but the earth itself didn't. What changed was our understanding. So maybe a fact isn't just a simple, unchanging piece of information. Maybe it's more like our current best understanding of the world, right now, built upon the strongest evidence we have. It's what we mostly agree on, for now, until new information or new ways of looking at things make us think again. This means our understanding of reality is always growing, always getting clearer. And that's a pretty amazing, hopeful thought, isn't it? It suggests that the quest for truth is an endless journey of discovery. The boundary of everything. Have you ever stopped to wonder about the very edge of everything? Not just the edge of your town, but the absolute boundary of existence itself. It's a huge, deep question. Where does reality stop? What lies beyond the universe, if anything at all? For thousands of years, people have thought about this. Ancient thinkers puzzled over where the world began and ended. They asked, is there a limit to knowledge? Is there a point where space just stops? Or is it like a circle, with no real beginning or end? These aren't just old questions. Scientists today, studying the vast cosmos, bump into the same ideas. They look at the farthest stars, trying to see the edge of what we can observe. Here's the thing. Imagine you're playing a video game, and you walk to the very edge of the map. You hit an invisible wall, or maybe the world just fades into nothing. What's beyond that wall? Is it more game that hasn't loaded? Or just ... no more game? That's a bit like wondering about the boundary of everything. We can only see so far, experience so much, and understand so much. Our minds, amazing as they are, also have limits. They can't fully grasp everything, especially infinity. So, when we think about the boundary of everything, it's not about finding a literal fence. Instead, it's realizing the vastness of what we don't know. It's the mystery surrounding our understanding of reality. It leaves us with a quiet sense of wonder, knowing some questions are bigger than our answers. That's okay. It means there's more to ponder, more to be curious about, even if we never reach the edge. How do we feel time pass? Have you ever noticed how some days stretch out forever, slow and lingering, while others just vanish in a blink? It's a strange thing, this feeling of time. We know a minute is 60 seconds, and an hour is 60 minutes. But our minds often tell a very different story. Think about it. When you're waiting for something important, like the school bell to ring at the end of a long day, every second can feel heavy, like the clock is moving through thick mud. But then, when you're completely lost in a great game or deep in conversation with friends, hours can simply disappear without you even noticing. Poof, gone, as if they never happened. Philosophers and thinkers for thousands of years have puzzled over this deep question. Even wise people in ancient Greece wondered why time felt so different to us. They didn't have fancy scientific instruments, but they understood that how you felt and what you were doing changed your experience of time. They realized time wasn't just something outside of us. It was also unique and personal, shaped by our inner world. Here's one way to think about it. When we're bored or anxious, our brains often search for new information, for something to change. Every little detail might seem to stand out, making time feel long, almost dragging. But when we're having fun or deeply focused on something we love, our brains are so busy enjoying the moment that they don't register every tiny tick of the clock. Our minds just cruise along, absorbed, and so time seems to speed up, and that's why it matters. Our emotions, our attention, what we are experiencing, these things actually shape how quickly or slowly time seems to pass for each of us. So, the rhythm of time isn't just measured by a clock on the wall. It's also felt by the beat of our own hearts, changing with every laugh, every quiet moment, every deep thought. It's a quiet mystery, always with us, reminding us that being alive is about more than just numbers on a dial. It's about the unique, shifting experience of each moment. What is change? Have you ever really stopped to think about change? What is it, really? We see it all around us, every second. A sunny morning turns into a cloudy afternoon. A small seed grows into a tall tree. Your friend, who was just a little kid, is now almost as tall as you. We know things change, but what's actually happening when something becomes different? For a long time, people have puzzled over this. Way back in ancient Greece, a thinker named Heraclitus said you can never step into the same river twice. Think about that. The water is always moving, always new. So, is it still the same river? If the river is always flowing, always different, then maybe everything is always in motion, always changing. Some other thinkers, though, believed change wasn't even real. They thought it was just an illusion, that things never truly changed. But our eyes tell us otherwise, don't they? Think about a tiny caterpillar. It crawls on leaves, eats and grows. Then, it spins a chrysalis. For a while, it stays hidden. And then, something amazing happens. It emerges as a butterfly, with colorful wings, flying free. Is the butterfly the same as the caterpillar? In some ways, yes, it's the next stage of that life. But in so many other ways, it's completely new. Its body is different. Its way of moving is different. Here's the thing. This idea of change touches everything. It's in how our bodies grow, how our thoughts shift, how the world around us never stays still. It's a quiet mystery, isn't How can something be both itself and constantly transforming? Maybe understanding change is not just about watching it, but wondering how we, ourselves, are part of this constant flow, always becoming something new. It makes you think about who you are right now and who you might be next. Is the future already set? Have you ever stopped to think if your day, your week, or even your whole life is already planned out? It's a strange thought, isn't it? This isn't about psychics or fortune tellers. It's about a much deeper question. Is everything that happens, including the choices you make, just the natural result of everything that came before? Some thinkers, for thousands of years, have pondered this idea. They call it determinism. The basic idea is that every event, every action, is set in motion by previous causes. Imagine a long line of dominoes. When the first one falls, it's not really choosing to hit the next. It simply falls because of the push it received, and then it causes the next one to fall. Each domino's path is determined by the one before it. From ancient Greek philosophers like Democritus, who believed atoms and their movements decided everything, to later thinkers who saw the universe as a giant machine working by strict rules, people have wondered if our sense of free will is just an illusion. Here's the thing. If every thought you have and every decision you make is just a tiny link in a long chain of cause and effect, then were you ever truly free to choose something different? Think about it like this. When you drop a ball, it always falls down. We know gravity will make it happen. It doesn't choose to fall. What if our brains, our feelings, and our decisions work in a similar way, following their own kind of invisible laws? This question doesn't have a simple answer. It makes you wonder about responsibility, about what it means to be human. Maybe the future isn't a fixed story written in stone, but rather a complex unfolding pattern where our choices, even if determined, still feel incredibly real and important to us. It's a mystery that makes you look at every moment a little differently. The mystery of memory. Have you ever really thought about your memories? Where do they go? When you remember your first day of middle school, or that time you laughed so hard, where is that moment stored? It feels like a mental filing cabinet, right? Open a drawer, and there it is. But here's the thing. Memory is much weirder and far more mysterious than that. Ancient thinkers, like Plato, sometimes thought of memory was like a wax tablet. When we experienced something, it left an impression on this tablet. We could then read that mark. It was a simple idea, and it made sense. But modern science shows it's not so simple. Our memories aren't perfect video recordings. They're more like stories we tell ourselves. Stories that get rewritten a little each time. Think about remembering a favorite family vacation, maybe to a beach or a park. You can picture it, feel the sun. But if you talk to your brother or a sister about the same day, they might remember different details. They might even remember things you don't recall. It's because your brain isn't just pulling up a file. It's rebuilding the experience based on what it knows, what it felt, and what you've learned. Every time you remember, you are recreating. The past. Memory is less like a solid object and more like a flowing river. It's always moving, always changing. So, the mystery isn't just how we remember. It's how something so fluid can define us, give us identity, and make us feel connected. 2 moments long gone. It's a quiet wonder how the echoes of yesterday shape who we are today, even as they fade and transform. What is a decision? Think about your day so far. Did you choose toast or cereal for breakfast? Did you pick a red shirt or a blue one? Every single one of us makes choices, big and small, all the time. But here's the thing. What actually is a decision? It seems simple, right? It's when you pick one path out of many. But look closer, and it gets pretty mysterious. For centuries, people have wondered about this. Ancient thinkers, like those in old Greece, asked if we truly have free will. Do we really choose, or are our choices somehow already set by everything that came before us? It's a deep question, and it's not just about what you eat. It's about what it means to be human. When you make a decision, you are, in a way, creating your own future. You are saying yes to one possibility and no to countless others. Imagine you're standing at a crossroads. One road leads to a quiet library, the other to a bustling sports field. Choosing which path to take feels like a simple act, but in that moment, your brain is doing amazing things. It's weighing past experiences, thinking about what you want right now, and even imagining what might happen next. That moment of picking is a decision. So, when we choose, are we just reacting to signals? Or is there something inside us, some part of our mind, that truly makes an independent choice? This can help you think about it. A computer follows its programming. It does what it's told. But a human can pause, think, and then pick something totally unexpected. This ability to choose, to decide, is a remarkable thing. It shapes who we become, one choice at a time. It's part of the profound mystery of being alive. Can computers think? Have you ever wondered if the smart speaker in your house, or the game you play, actually thinks? It can answer questions. It can beat you at chess. But is that thinking, or just really fast calculating? Here's the thing. This isn't a new question. For a long time, people have asked if machines could ever truly have minds like ours. Back in the 1950s, a brilliant mathematician named Alan Turing came up with an idea. He proposed a test, now called the Turing test. Imagine you're texting with two different people, but you don't know who is who. One is a human, and the other is a computer. If you can't tell the difference, if the computer talks so much like a human that you can't tell it's a machine, then maybe, just maybe, it has reached a kind of thinking. But here's the problem. A computer can tell you the capital of France, or even write a poem. By following millions of rules and patterns, it's learned from huge amounts of information. It's like a highly advanced parrot. A parrot can repeat words, but it doesn't understand what those words mean. When you feel happy or sad, you know what that feels like. When a computer says, "I am happy," does it feel anything? Does it have any inner experience? This gets to the heart of the mystery. Can something built from wires and code ever truly experience the world, or understand meaning the way we do? Or are they just incredible imitators, mimicking our thoughts, without truly having any of their own? Maybe the real question isn't whether computers can think, but what thinking really is. It makes you wonder about your own mind, and what makes it special. The unexplainable feeling. Have you ever felt something so strong, so clear, you just couldn't put it into words? It's not just happiness or sadness. It's a deeper feeling, like a chill even when it's warm, or a rush of wonder seeing something truly amazing. This is what an unexplainable feeling is. It's a human mystery, something our words can't quite catch. We have words for so many things, colors, tastes, sounds, even love and fear. But some moments, the feeling is so big, no words seem right. It's like trying to describe the color blue to someone who's never seen it. You can use other colors, but they won't truly get it until they see blue. Long ago, thinkers and poets wondered about this too. They knew some experiences went beyond everyday talk. So, they wrote songs, made art, or told myths. They tried to reach these feelings with stories, knowing plain words weren't enough. Our deepest parts often speak in ways words can't follow. Imagine standing at the ocean for the first time. The vastness, the endless horizon, the sound of waves. You might feel small, amazed, maybe a little scared, but also incredibly peaceful. How do you describe that mix? You can say it was beautiful or it was huge, but those words don't carry the real feeling inside. It feels like it touches something very old and deep inside you. And here's the thing, maybe that's okay. Some feelings are just meant to be felt, not fully explained. They connect us to something bigger, something quiet and wonderful. They remind us how much in the world we don't need to name to understand. It's in these wordless moments we often feel most alive. What is existence? Have you ever just stopped for a moment and really wondered about being here? Like, what does it mean for anything to be? We talk about things existing all the time. Your desk exists. The tree outside your window exists. Even the thoughts inside your head, they exist too, right? But here's the thing. What is existence, really? It's a question people have asked for thousands of years. Ancient Greek thinkers, way back then, looked at the world and asked, why is there anything at all? Why isn't there just nothing? They knew it wasn't simple. They knew that just because you can see something or touch it, that doesn't explain how it gets real. Think about it like this. You can see a video game character on a screen. It moves, it talks, it seems real inside the game. But does it truly exist in the same way you do? Or is it just code and light? What about a dream you had last night? It felt so real while you were in it, but when you woke up, it was gone. Did it exist? If so, for how long? And where? We often think of existing as being solid, something you can touch. But it's more than that. It's the simple fact of being, not just being something, but the act of being there. It's how your own mind is present right now, reading these words, thinking your thoughts. And that's why it matters. Because understanding existence, even just a little, makes you look at everything differently. It makes you realize that being alive, being aware, being anything at all, is a big mystery. It's a quiet wonder, always there, if you just take a moment to notice it. Is the universe growing? Have you ever wondered if the universe has a final edge, a place where it just stops? Or does it just keep going, forever? Here's a big mystery. Scientists are pretty sure the universe isn't just big, it's actually getting bigger. It's like it's stretching out, constantly expanding. For a long time, people thought the universe was just, well, they're fixed. But then, about 100 years ago, a scientist named Edwin Hubble noticed something strange. He saw that galaxies, which are like huge groups of stars, weren't just floating around. They were all moving away from us. And the farther away they were, the faster they seemed to move. This suggested space itself was stretching, carrying the galaxies along with it, like dots drawn on a balloon that's being blown up. Think about a balloon. When you inflate it, the surface gets bigger. If you drew 2 dots on that balloon, they wouldn't move across the surface, but the space between them would stretch, making them seem to move farther apart. That's a bit like how the universe expands. It's not like the universe is growing into something else, like a tree growing taller. Instead, the space within the universe is expanding. It's the distances between things that are getting larger. This idea means the universe might not have an edge in the way we usually think about it. It's a mind-bending thought, isn't it? If space itself is always stretching, then where does it stretch to? What is it stretching into? These are questions that make us pause and feel the vast, deep mystery of everything. It means we live in a universe that's not just huge, but also a living, breathing thing, always changing, always becoming something more. The idea of parallel worlds. Have you ever wondered what would happen if you'd made a different choice? Like, what if you decided to wear a blue shirt instead of a red one today? Or what if you turned right instead of left on your way home? The idea of parallel worlds explores exactly this, the possibility that for every decision made, every path not taken, a separate reality might exist. Here's the thing, it means there could be many versions of you, living different lives. Right now, in one world, you're a famous artist. In another, maybe you're a quiet scientist. This isn't just a fun thought for sci-fi movies though. Even ancient philosophers thought about different possibilities, like how our dreams might be glimpses into other realities, or how every choice opens a new path. Later, in science, some physicists started thinking about it too. They looked at tiny particles that seemed to do many things at once until we observed them. This led to ideas about many worlds, where every time something could go one way or another, the universe actually splits. So, here's what happened. Instead of a coin landing on heads or tails, maybe it lands on heads in one world, and tails in another, both real. Think about a video game with different storylines. You pick one path, and the game goes that way. But the other paths were still there, ready to be explored. That's a bit like parallel worlds. Every choice you don't make still plays out somewhere else. This idea can feel a little mind-bending, right? It makes you wonder how big reality truly is. And it makes you think about this specific moment, this one life, this unique version of you. It reminds us that even with endless possibilities out there, the present moment, the one you're experiencing now, is truly special and irreplaceable. It's the one you're really living. Why do we ask why? Have you ever stopped to truly wonder? Not just about huge questions like how the universe began, but even smaller things, like why does the sky look blue? Or why do we dream? It feels like we are born with this itch, this deep need to understand. That's what asking why really is. It's a natural human urge to look deeper, to find the roots of things, to connect the dots. For thousands of years, people have looked at the world around them and asked questions. Early humans probably wondered why the sun moved across the sky, or why it rained. They weren't just curious. They needed to understand their world to survive and thrive. Over time, thinkers, who we now call philosophers, started asking why about bigger ideas. Why are we here? What is real? Why do we feel emotions? This drive to understand isn't just about getting answers. It's about making sense of everything. It's how we've grown. From living in caves to building incredible cities and exploring space. Think about something simple, like a sudden loud noise. Your first reaction might be to jump, but right after, your brain starts asking, why did that happen? You look around, you listen, You try to figure out what caused it. Maybe a book fell, or someone dropped something. This can help you learn and react better next time. Or in science, when an apple falls from a tree, we don't just accept it, we ask, why did it fall? And that's how we started figuring out things like gravity. It's a way our minds try to build a picture of how the world works. So here's the thing. Asking why isn't just about finding facts, it's about a journey. It's about accepting that there's always more to learn, more to explore. This might work for you by helping you feel more connected to the world around you, understanding its mysteries, and finding your place within them. It reminds us that being curious is a powerful and very human thing. What is knowledge? What does it really mean to know something? We use that word all the time. I know the answer. I know that person. But stop for a moment. What is that feeling, that state, when you truly know? Is it just having information in your head? Here's the thing. Knowledge is usually thought of as more than just a guess. It's when you believe something, and that belief turns out to be true, and you have good reasons for holding that belief. It's not just wishing something were true, or making a lucky guess. It has a certain weight to it, a firmness. For thousands of years, people have wondered about this. Wise thinkers throughout history would sit and puzzle over it. They wanted to figure out what makes knowledge different from just a strong opinion. They asked, can we truly know anything for sure? Or are we always just building on ideas that might change later? Think about it this way. Imagine you know your best friend's favorite ice cream flavor is chocolate. You believe it. You've seen them pick it every single time you go for ice cream. They even told you once. All these things make it feel like real knowledge, right? You have reasons for your belief, and it seems true. But what if, deep down, your friend secretly prefers vanilla, but just picks chocolate because they know you love it? Does that change what you thought you knew? This makes you wonder, doesn't it? Knowledge can feel solid, like a rock you can stand on, but sometimes, when you look closer, it's more like a flowing river, always moving, always changing its path. The more we learn, the more we see the edges of what we don't know, and the questions that remain. And that's okay. It's part of the great mystery of our world, asking us to keep wondering, to keep exploring. The problem with all, have you ever stopped to think about the word all? It sounds so complete, doesn't it? Like it covers everything, with no exceptions. When we say all, we usually mean every single thing in a group, every possible case. It promises a kind of perfect certainty, a full stop on a thought. But here's the thing. Language can sometimes trick us. That small, powerful word can make us feel like we understand something fully, even when we don't. Think about it this way. What does all truly mean when we try to describe the world around us? For thousands of years, even the earliest thinkers and philosophers puzzled over words like all or every. They wondered if our language could ever really capture a universal truth, something that truly applied to everything without fail. It's a huge challenge, because the world is messy, full of tiny differences and surprising exceptions. Here's an example. Most of us would say, all birds can fly. It seems pretty obvious, right? We see birds soaring in the sky all the time. But then you think about a penguin or an ostrich. They're definitely birds, but they can't fly. So, the word all immediately bumps up against reality. It shows us that our broad statements, even if mostly true, often have hidden edges though. Here's what I found. The problem with all isn't just about finding exceptions. It's a quiet reminder that our understanding and the words we use are always a bit incomplete. It teaches us to be humble about what we think we know. It reminds us that the world is more complex, more nuanced, and more wonderfully varied than any single word can ever fully capture. It's okay to acknowledge that some things defy a simple, all-encompassing answer. Can you imagine nothing? Have you ever really tried to think about nothing? Not just an empty room or a silent place, but nothing. It's harder than it sounds. Our minds are built to see things, to think about things, to find patterns and make connections. So, when we try to picture nothing, what usually happens? We picture a black void. But even that black void is something. It's darkness. It's space. It's not truly the absence of everything. For a long, long time, people have thought deeply about this very idea. Ancient philosophers wondered if nothing could even exist. If something exists, it's not nothing. And if nothing exists, then it's actually something. This is a paradox, a puzzle that ties your brain in knots. They knew that just talking about nothing makes it seem like a thing we are talking about. How can you talk about something that isn't there? Think about it. Imagine you have a snack. You eat it all. The snack is gone, right? But the space it took up is still there. Your stomach is still there. The memory of the snack, too. It's not nothing. Or think of a blank page. It has no words, but it's still a page, waiting. Not ultimate nothing. Even zero, which means none, is a number, a concept we use. It isn't true non-existence. The challenge is that we live in a world full of things. Every sound, every light, every thought, they are all somethings. So, to truly imagine nothing might be trying to picture something our minds aren't built for. It makes you wonder, if we can't even imagine nothing, what does that tell us about what nothing truly means? Or if it can even be real? It's a quiet mystery, one that simply sits there, beyond our cleverest thoughts. What is a limit? Have you ever hit a wall? Not a real, solid wall, but a point where you just can't go any further, or do any more. That feeling, that edge, is what we call a limit. A limit is like an invisible line, a boundary that something can't cross. It's the furthest point something can reach, or the highest amount it can be. Think of it as a natural stopping place, or a defined boundary. For a long time, thinkers and philosophers wondered about limits. Do things have a natural end? Can we always know more, or is there a limit to what the human mind can grasp? Ancient Greek thinkers, like Zeno, played with ideas of limits in movement and time, making us think deeply about how things end or approach something infinitely close. They asked if you could ever truly reach the end of a path, if you always had to go halfway first. These thoughts show how deeply humans have always wrestled with the idea of boundaries. Here's an example. Imagine you're running. You push yourself. Your legs burn. Your breath gets ragged. There comes a point where you just can't run another step. Not right then. That's your physical limit for that moment. It's not a failure. It's simply the edge of your current ability. In science, we see limits to, like the speed of light. Nothing we know can go faster than light. That's a fundamental limit of our universe. But here's the thing about limits. They aren't always bad. Sometimes, they define what something is. They give shape to our world, and to our understanding. And sometimes, knowing a limit helps us to wonder what lies beyond it, or what might be possible if we push against it. Thinking about limits can open our minds, making us curious about the edges of our knowledge, and the vast unknown spaces just beyond them. The shape of forever. When you hear the word forever, what picture pops into your mind? Is it just a straight line, stretching out without end? Or could it be something else entirely? Maybe forever has a shape we can't quite grasp, a form that defies our ideas of beginning and end. For a long time, people across cultures wondered about this. Many ancient thinkers didn't see time as just a line moving forward. They thought it moved in circles, like the seasons. Spring, summer, fall, winter, it always comes back. For them, time was a big, repeating circle. An endless loop, where events might happen again. Think about a repeating song you love. When it finishes, it starts again from the beginning. It cycles. Or consider the water cycle. Rain falls, flows into rivers, evaporates, forms clouds, then rains again. It's an ongoing, endless pattern. This is a kind of forever around us. If water can have a cycle, could time itself be part of a larger, grand cycle? But here's the thing. We live inside this mystery. We can't step outside of time to see its whole shape. Like looking at a drawing. We only experience it moment by moment, always moving forward. That's why it matters. How we imagine forever can change how we see our own lives, our own moments. Are we just on a long, straight road, or part of an endless, beautiful circle? The shape of forever isn't just a dry question. It's a deep mystery that makes us think about everything. It reminds us how much we don't know, and how wonderful that unknown can be. It gently asks us to simply wonder, letting our minds imagine something truly beyond our everyday understanding. What is understanding? Have you ever thought about the difference between just knowing something and truly understanding it? It's a bit of a mystery, really. We can memorize facts, like the capital of France, but that doesn't mean we understand what makes Paris special, or why it became a capital city. Understanding feels deeper. It's like when pieces of a puzzle suddenly click together, and you don't just see the individual shapes anymore. You see the whole picture, and it makes sense. For thousands of years, thinkers and philosophers have wrestled with this idea. The ancient Greeks, people like Plato, wondered if understanding was about seeing the true form of things, beyond just their appearance. For them, it wasn't enough to just know that a shadow was there. You had to understand what was casting the shadow, and why. Understanding isn't just about collecting information. It's about seeing the connections, the reasons, the how, and the why. It's about building a map in your mind, not just listing landmarks. Think about riding a bicycle. At first, you might know the steps, push pedals, steer handlebars, but you don't really understand it until you feel the balance, the slight lean into a turn, the way your body shifts. That's not just memorizing instructions. It's an inner knowing that comes from experience. Your brain connects the feeling of falling with the need to steer, and suddenly, you've got it. You understand. Understanding isn't always about big, complicated ideas. It happens in small moments too, like when you finally get why a friend is upset. Not just that they are upset. It's a quiet click inside your mind. It's like you're not just looking at the surface anymore, but seeing into the depth of things, and that, in itself, is a profound and beautiful mystery, isn't it? It connects us to the world and each other in a deeper way. It's not just about facts. It's about finding meaning. Do we see the same stars? When you look up at the night sky, at all those shimmering lights, you might think everyone sees the same thing. We point to constellations. We talk about the bright moon. But here's a question. Do we truly see the same stars, or is what you experience inside your head a little different from what I experience? Our eyes are tools. They capture light and send signals to our brains. But our brains are unique. They interpret everything we see. So, even if the light from a star hits your eye and my eye in the same way, the feeling of that light might be different for each of us. Thinkers for centuries have wondered about this. They asked if we truly know the world as it is, or only as our minds show it to us. We rely on what our brain tells us. Here's an example. Imagine we both look at a red apple. We both agree it's red. But what if the feeling of red in your mind is different from the red in my mind? Maybe your red is like what my brain feels when I see orange, but we both call it red. We would never truly know. It's like how a song can make one person happy, but the same notes make another person feel sad. The sound is the same, but the inner experience is unique. So, when we look at those countless stars, maybe each of us is looking at our own private sky, beautiful in its own way. This isn't a problem, it's a wonder. It reminds us that our personal worlds are special, and it helps us remember that everyone else has their own view too. This can make us curious about how others see the world, and everything in it. The power of an unspoken idea. Have you ever walked into a room and just felt something? A quiet tension, a hidden sadness, or even a deep, shared joy. No one needed to say a word, but the feeling was clearly there, like a silent hum. This brings us to a strange, deep idea. What if some of the most powerful truths, the biggest mysteries, exist without ever needing to be spoken or written down? Think about it. We often believe words are how we understand everything, how we make sense of our world. But what if a concept, a profound truth, can live on its own, entirely apart from any language we have? It's like an invisible force that shapes our reality, even if we can't label it or explain it fully. Some of the wisest people throughout history have thought about this. They wondered if there were perfect truths or ideas that were perfectly real and true, existing in the universe before humans ever had words to describe them. This way of thinking suggests that reality itself isn't always bound by our ability to name things, but that some things simply are. Here's a good example. Think about the law of gravity. Gravity was working, pulling apples to the ground and keeping planets in orbit, long before any human being existed on Earth. It was a true force, a real part of the universe. For billions of years without anyone naming it gravity or writing down its mathematical equations. Its power was always there, an unspoken, fundamental truth, waiting for someone to discover it, not created by our words. So, here's what happened. There are wonders in the world that don't need human voices or fancy books to exist. They just are. They might be a feeling you can't quite explain, a scientific law that holds everything together, or a deep, repeating pattern in nature. Sometimes, the most important thing we can do is just to be quiet. We need to listen with more than just our ears, to sense these unspoken ideas, these hidden truths that hum beneath the surface of everyday life. They remind us that the universe holds mysteries far deeper than anything we can ever fully put into words. And that's a truly beautiful, humbling thought. What is order? What is order? We think we see it everywhere, but what does it truly mean for something to be in order? Is it just neatness, like a perfectly organized desk? Or is it something much deeper, a hidden pattern that shapes the very universe? This question has touched human minds for ages. Ancient people watched stars move. They saw a predictable dance. They made calendars, knowing the sun would rise and seasons would turn. It was about understanding how things work, not just tidiness. An old Greek thinker, Plato, even spoke of an ideal, unchanging order behind what we see. For centuries, thinkers looked for these underlying rules. They searched for a silent music in the seeming chaos. Here's an example. Imagine a school hallway at dismissal. If everyone walks in one direction, that's order. You can move. But if everyone just runs around, bumping into each other, that's chaos. In your own mind, when thoughts are clear, that's order. When jumbled, that's confusion. In science, atoms join in specific ways. Planets orbit stars on clear paths. That's order at work. So, order isn't just about being arranged nicely. It's about things being predictable. It's about patterns that let things function, exist, and make sense. It's the quiet agreement holding things together, from tiny particles to huge galaxies. It lets us understand our world, even when we don't realize it. It's a quiet truth that whispers, this fits, and maybe. It's that feeling when everything clicks, and for a moment, the world feels just right. Is chaos just hidden order? Have you ever looked at something and thought, wow, that's just a mess? Maybe it's a big pile of clothes, or traffic during rush hour, or even just the way leaves blow around in a strong wind. It all seems so random, right? Pure chaos. But here's the thing. Sometimes, what looks like total disorder might actually be following secret rules. It might be an order that's just too complicated for us to see. Isolated. Think about it this way. For a long time, people wondered about unpredictable events. Back in ancient Greece, thinkers asked if the universe was just random, or if there was a deeper pattern. Early scientists searched for hidden connections. They noticed that truly complex things, like the weather, often followed general patterns, even if predicting an exact rain shower felt impossible. They saw that sometimes simple rules could lead to incredibly complex, messy outcomes. Imagine a giant swarm of tiny ants. At first glance, it looks like pure chaos. Ants run in every direction, bumping into each other. But if you watch longer, you start to see paths and purpose. You see them bringing food back to a nest, following invisible scent trails, working together without any single leader. Each ant follows just a few simple rules. Find food, go back to the nest, avoid obstacles. When millions of ants follow these simple rules, you get something that looks chaotic, but is actually a highly organized, thriving colony. So maybe chaos isn't always random. Maybe it's just a kind of super complex order, an intricate dance, where every part has its own small part to play. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Perhaps even life itself, with all its sudden changes, its ups and downs, and moments that feel completely unexpected, has its own grand, hidden rhythm we're still learning to hear. And maybe that's a beautiful thought. What is a pattern? Have you ever stopped to notice how some things just repeat? Think about a song you love. Doesn't the chorus come back again and again? Or how the sun rises every morning, painting the sky with similar colors, even if they're a little different each day. That feeling, that sense of something repeating or following a rule, that's a pattern. A pattern is simply an arrangement of things that appears in a regular, predictable way. It's when you can look at one part and guess what the next part will be. Humans have always been fascinated by patterns. Way back, ancient people looked up at the stars. They saw shapes, like the Big Dipper, and noticed how they moved across the night sky the same way. Season after season, they found patterns in the changing moon, the tides, or how animals migrated. This searching helped them understand their world and predict what might happen. It was like they were trying to read the universe's secret language. Here's an example. Think about a simple drum beat. Boom clap, boom clap, boom clap. You quickly learn the pattern. You can even predict the next sound before it happens. In life, your daily routine has patterns. Waking up, going to school, eating lunch. Even your feelings can have patterns. Maybe you notice you always feel a certain way after a long week. Recognizing patterns helps our brains make sense of chaos. It's how we learn. But here's the thing. Sometimes, the patterns we see aren't truly there, or they're more complex than we first thought. And sometimes, the mystery isn't just in finding the pattern, but in understanding why it exists at all. It makes you wonder, doesn't it, what deep hidden rules guide everything, even the parts that seem random. Maybe the search for patterns is just a human way of looking for meaning in a world that often defies easy answers. Can we truly know ourselves? Have you ever truly stopped to wonder about the person looking back at you in the mirror? Not just what you see, but who you really are inside. This question might seem simple, but it's one of the oldest and deepest mysteries we face. Knowing ourselves means understanding our thoughts, our true feelings, our hidden desires, and why we do the things we do. It's about figuring out what makes us, us. For thousands of years, people have pondered this. An ancient Greek thinker named Socrates, famous for asking lots of questions, often told people, "Know thyself." He believed that understanding your own mind and character was the most important thing you could ever do. But here's the thing, we are always changing. Think about it. Your favorite color or the kind of music you love might have been totally different a few years ago. Maybe you were really shy in elementary school, but now you feel more comfortable speaking up. Are you a completely different person? Or are you just growing and unfolding into who you are meant to be? Our brains are always learning and making new connections, shaped by every experience we have. This means the self isn't a fixed statue. It's more like a flowing river, constantly moving and changing. And because we can only see the world through our own eyes, truly stepping outside ourselves to get a full picture is incredibly difficult. Maybe the mystery isn't about finding a single, final answer to who am I. Instead, maybe the true journey is in the constant searching, the quiet wondering, and the gentle discovery of who we are becoming, day by day. It's okay if the answer keeps shifting. That's just life happening. The edge of thought. Have you ever tried to think about something so big, so strange, that your mind just kind of stops, like you hit a wall, even though you're still thinking? This feeling, this invisible border, is what we call the edge of thought. It's the limit of what our human minds can fully grasp. Beyond this edge, questions become so deep that our everyday language and logic struggle to even describe them. For thousands of years, people have bumped up against these edges. Ancient Greek thinkers, for example, loved to wrestle with ideas that seemed to stretch their brains. They'd ask, if everything has a cause, what caused the very first thing? Or, if a ship replaces every single one of its parts over time, is it still the same ship? These aren't easy questions. They don't have simple answers, because they push past the limits of how we normally think. Here's the thing, trying to imagine what happened before the universe began can feel like hitting this edge. Your brain wants to find it before, but if there was no time then, before doesn't make sense. Or think about consciousness itself, what makes you you? We can study the brain, but explaining the feeling of being aware, of having a self, that's incredibly difficult. It's like trying to grab smoke, and that's why it matters. The edge of thought isn't a sign that we're not smart enough. It shows us how vast and mysterious reality is. It reminds us there's always more to wonder about, more to explore, even if we can't fully touch it with our understanding. These unanswerable questions aren't problems, they're invitations to keep looking, to keep dreaming, and to stand in awe of the universe's quiet, beautiful mysteries. They remind us to be curious, always. What is presence? Have you ever been somewhere but felt like you weren't really there? Maybe your body was in the classroom, but your mind was miles away, thinking about dinner or a video game. So, what does it truly mean to be present? Here's the thing, presence is about being fully, completely aware of the here and now. It's when your mind, your body, and your senses all focus on the same exact moment. It's not about yesterday's mistakes or tomorrow's worries. It's simply about existing fully, right now. It's powerful. People have thought about this for thousands of years. Ancient thinkers wondered about existence itself, about what it means to simply be. Some traditions, like certain ancient Eastern philosophies, developed ideas very similar to what we now call mindfulness. This is just a way of paying close attention to the present moment, without judgment. They knew living in the present was key. Think about when you're completely absorbed in something. Maybe you're on the basketball court, and the ball is coming right at you. For that split second, nothing else exists. Your entire focus is on the game, on catching that ball. Your mind isn't wandering, you are completely there. That intense focus, that total awareness of this moment, that's presence. Or perhaps you're just listening to your favorite song, eyes closed, letting the music wash over you. In that moment, you are truly present with the sound. When we practice presence, the world can suddenly seem sharper, more vibrant, and full of detail. It's a quiet strength that helps you truly live each second. And that's why it matters. Living fully in the present can make life feel deeper, more meaningful, and more real. It's a way to truly be in your own life. What is presence? Have you ever been somewhere but felt like you weren't really there? Maybe your body was in the classroom, but your mind was miles away, thinking about dinner or a video game. So, what does it truly mean to be present? Here's the thing. Presence is about being fully, completely aware of the here and now. It's when your mind, your body, and your senses all focus on the same exact moment. It's not about yesterday's mistakes or tomorrow's worries. It's simply about existing fully, right now. It's powerful. People have thought about this for thousands of years. Ancient thinkers wondered about existence itself, about what it means to simply be. Some traditions, like certain ancient Eastern philosophies, developed ideas very similar to what we now call mindfulness. This is just a way of paying close attention to the present moment, without judgment. They knew living in the present was key. Think about when you're completely absorbed in something. Maybe you're on the basketball court, and the ball is coming right at you. For that split second, nothing else exists. Your entire focus is on the game, on catching that ball. Your mind isn't wandering, you are completely there. That intense focus, that total awareness of this moment, that's presence. Or perhaps you're just listening to your favorite song, eyes closed, letting the music wash over you. In that moment, you are truly present with the sound. When we practice presence, the world can suddenly seem sharper, more vibrant, and full of detail. It's a quiet strength that helps you truly live each second. And that's why it matters. Living fully in the present can make life feel deeper, more meaningful, and more real. It's a way to truly be in your own life. What is presence? Have you ever been somewhere but felt like you weren't really there? Maybe your body was in the classroom, but your mind was miles away, thinking about dinner or a video game. So, what does it truly mean to be present? Here's the thing. Presence is about being fully, completely aware of the here and now. It's when your mind, your body, and your senses all focus on the same exact moment. It's not about yesterday's mistakes or tomorrow's worries. It's simply about existing fully, right now. It's powerful. People have thought about this for thousands of years. Ancient thinkers wondered about existence itself, about what it means to simply be. Some traditions, like certain ancient Eastern philosophies, developed ideas very similar to what we now call mindfulness. This is just a way of paying close attention to the present moment, without judgment. They knew living in the present was key. Think about when you're completely absorbed in something. Maybe you're on the basketball court, and the ball is coming right at you. For that split second, nothing else exists. Your entire focus is on the game, on catching that ball. Your mind isn't wandering, you are completely there. That intense focus, that total awareness of this moment, that's presence. Or perhaps you're just listening to your favorite song, eyes closed, letting the music wash over you. In that moment, you are truly present with the sound. When we practice presence, the world can suddenly seem sharper, more vibrant, and full of detail. It's a quiet strength that helps you truly live each second. And that's why it matters. Living fully in the present can make life feel deeper, more meaningful, and more real. It's a way to truly be in your own life. Is life a dream? Have you ever woken up from a really vivid dream, one where everything felt so real, only to realize it was just your mind playing tricks? For a moment, you might have felt confused. That feeling is something thinkers have wondered about for a very long time. What if our whole life, right now, is actually just a big, long dream? This isn't a new idea. Philosophers, people who think deeply about life's big questions, have asked this for thousands of years. There was an ancient Chinese thinker named Zhuangzi who once dreamed he was a butterfly. When he woke up, he wondered if he was Zhuangzi who had just dreamed he was a butterfly, or if he was a butterfly now dreaming he was Zhuangzi. It gets pretty mind-bending, right? Later, in the 1600s, a French thinker named René Descartes explored this idea too. He wondered how we could ever really be sure we weren't just dreaming at any given moment. Think about it. In a dream, you often don't know you're dreaming until you wake up. The sights, sounds, and feelings can be so convincing. Your brain creates those experiences. Here's the thing. Sometimes, when we're dreaming, we can even do things we can't do in real life, like fly or breathe underwater. And when we wake up, we remember that impossible flight. But what if our waking life has its own set of rules, and it feels real only because we're currently in this particular dream state? It's a question that makes you pause and consider what real even means. Is it just what we experience through our senses? Or is there something more? This kind of thinking helps us appreciate the moments we have, no matter what they are. It reminds us that our experiences, whether dream or not, shape who we are and how we see the world around us. It's a quiet wonder about the very nature of existence. What is reality made of? Have you ever stopped to really think about the stuff around you? Not just what a table looks like, but what it is. What are you made of? What is the air you breathe? We feel like we know reality, right? We see it, touch it, hear it. But for thousands of years, people have asked, what is all of this really made of? Long, long ago, some Greek thinkers like Democritus thought everything was made of tiny, unbreakable pieces. They called these atoms, meaning uncoupled. They imagined these tiny bits banging around, forming everything we see and feel. But later, other wise people wondered if reality was more about ideas or even energy, not just physical stuff. They asked if what we experience is only what our minds build from information. Here's the thing. Your brain takes light signals and turns them into the image of a tree. It takes vibrations in the air and turns them into a song. Is the song really in the air, or is it something your brain creates from the sounds it receives? Here's an example that might help. Imagine you're playing a video game. You see characters, vast landscapes, cool effects. It feels incredibly real while you're playing, right? You react to what happens on screen. But you know deep down, it's all just complex computer code and tiny colored dots, called pixels, on a screen. If you zoom in super close on your TV or phone screen, you don't see a smooth picture anymore. You see separate red, green, and blue dots. Our everyday world seems so smooth and solid to us. But what if, on a much deeper, more fundamental level, it's also made of something we can't quite grasp directly with our usual senses? What if it's like those pixels, but on a cosmic scale, constantly shifting and forming? This deep mystery makes us pause and look at the world around us in a whole new way. It's not about finding one simple answer, because there might not be just one. It's about opening our minds to the strange and truly wonderful possibilities of existence itself. It makes us wonder if what we call real is just one way of seeing things, one layer of many. And that quiet thought, that deep question, can make the world around us feel a little more magical, a little more mysterious, and a little more alive. The way thoughts connect. Have you ever felt a sudden understanding of what someone else was thinking, even before they said a word? Or noticed how a shared feeling can sweep through a crowd, like an invisible wave? It makes you wonder, how do our thoughts, these silent whispers, connect with each other, or with the world around us? For a long time, thinkers have explored this mystery. Some ancient Greek philosophers imagined a world where ideas existed in a perfect realm, waiting to be discovered by us, not just invented. It was as if thoughts weren't just in our heads, but part of a bigger, unseen stream. Other traditions believed in a kind of universal mind, where all minds were tiny parts of a grand, shared awareness. This deep idea suggests that perhaps our thoughts aren't as separate as they feel. Think about a school project where a group is brainstorming. One person says something, and it sparks a new idea in someone else. Then that idea leads to another, and soon, you have a whole plan that no one person created alone. It's like building with Legos, but the bricks are ideas, and they click together in unexpected ways between brains. This isn't just talking, it's the very act of thoughts reaching out, touching, and shaping each other. Here's the thing. Understanding this connection can change how you see your own mind. It means your thoughts aren't just sealed inside you. They are part of a larger, flowing river of ideas and feelings that connects all of us. And that means your thoughts, even the quiet ones, have a subtle power to reach out and influence the invisible currents of the world. It's a quiet wonder, knowing we are all connected through this hidden web of thought. What is possibility? Have you ever stopped to think about all the things that could happen? Not what will happen, but what can happen. That feeling, that idea of what might be, is what we call possibility. It's like a wide open space, of choices and outcomes that haven't become real yet. For a long, long time, thinkers and philosophers have wondered about possibility. Is it just a thought in our heads, like a dream? Or is it something real, out there, waiting to happen? Some ancient Greek philosophers, like Aristotle, talked about potentiality. This was their way of saying things hold the potential to become something else. A small acorn has the potential, the possibility, to become a mighty oak tree. It's not an oak tree yet, but it has what it needs to become one. Think about your own day. When your alarm rings in the morning, there are many possibilities for how your day could go. You could hit snooze 5 times. You could jump right up and get ready. You could decide to wear your favorite shirt, or pick something new. Each choice opens a different path, a different set of possibilities for the next moment. This isn't just about big life choices. It's in every small decision. The path you walk to school, the words you say to a friend, each holds a possibility. So, possibility isn't just about things that might happen to us. It's also about the power we have to make things happen. It's the silent understanding that the future isn't fixed. It's a canvas with countless colors waiting for us to choose which ones to use. It's a quiet reminder that every moment holds a chance for something new, something different, something wonderful. That's why it matters. The idea of a soul. Have you ever stopped to think about what makes you, you? Not your body, not your name, but that inner part of you that thinks, feels, and knows. Many people, for thousands of years, have called this unseen, deeper part the soul. It's a really old idea, found in almost every culture and religion across the world. Here's the thing, people have tried to describe it in many ways. Some believe it's an invisible energy that leaves your body when you die. Others think it's the very essence of your personality, your consciousness, or even your spirit. Ancient Egyptians believed the soul needed to journey to the afterlife. Greek thinkers like Plato wondered if the soul was something immortal, something that existed before our bodies and would continue after them. They saw it as the true self, separate from the physical world. But here's the problem. Can we prove it exists? We can't see it under a microscope. Right. We can't touch it or weigh it. It's not like your brain, which we know is a physical organ that we can study. Think of it this way. Your phone has hardware, the screen, the chips, the battery. That's like your body. But it also has software, the apps, the operating system, the programs that make it work. That software isn't physical, but it makes the phone functional. Is the soul like the invisible software for our human hardware? Is it the thing that gives us our unique spark, our deepest thoughts and feelings? What makes us conscious and aware? So, while science explores the brain, trying to understand consciousness, the idea of a soul remains a profound mystery. It's a question that whispers in our minds, making us wonder about the deeper parts of who we are, beyond what we can see or touch. It's about that inner light, that quiet voice inside that sometimes guides us. Can we talk about everything? Have you ever felt something so incredibly deep, so clear in your mind, that when you tried to explain it, the words just weren't enough? It's like our language, for all its power, sometimes hits a wall. There are ideas, feelings, and even parts of reality that seem to slip right through our carefully chosen sentences. We can talk about many things, but some truths feel too big, too vast, for mere words. Thinkers throughout history have wrestled with this very idea. They asked, can words truly describe everything? They looked at big concepts like truth, beauty, or what it means to be alive. They tried to put these vast ideas into words, to define them, to pin them down, and they found it incredibly hard. Many realized that while words are great tools, some things are just too complex or personal to fit neatly into sentences. It's like there's a limit to what we can actually say. Here's a relatable example. Try to explain what love truly is. You can list feelings like warmth, care, or happiness. You can talk about actions like kindness or sacrifice. But does any combination of those words fully capture the full, deep, complicated feeling of love for a family member, a friend, or even a cherished pet? It's a feeling with so many layers, so many quiet moments, that no dictionary definition or poem can really explain it all. The real experience of love goes far beyond the words we use. So, here's the thing. If our words can't perfectly describe everything, what does that mean for us? It means some of the most profound parts of life might always remain a little bit of a mystery. It means we don't always need to find the perfect words to understand something deeply. Sometimes, understanding comes from simply experiencing it, from being present with the feeling or the idea. And that's not a weakness of language. It's a testament to the incredible, unspoken depth of the world around us and inside us. It leaves room for awe, for personal discovery, and for moments where we just quietly know something, even without saying a single word. Our language is a beautiful map, but it's not the territory itself. What is truth beyond words? Have you ever felt something so strongly, so purely, that words just didn't seem enough? Like the quiet understanding between two friends, or the feeling you get when you see something incredibly beautiful, like a sunset painting the sky. That feeling, that knowing, is a kind of truth, but it's a truth that seems to live deeper than our language can reach. For a long time, people have wondered about this. Ancient thinkers, long ago, asked if everything we know can truly be put into words. They considered how we experience the world with our minds, our senses, and our hearts, and some of those experiences, they realized, were simply too big for simple words. Think about music. Can you really describe your favorite song to someone who's never heard it? You can name the instruments, the rhythm, the words, but the way it makes you feel, the goosebumps, the memories, how it connects with something deep inside, that's almost impossible to explain. It's a truth you feel, a truth in the sound itself and in your own heart, not just in words. It's the truth of how a melody can calm you or make you want to dance. That truth is real and powerful, even without a perfect description. So, here's the thing, maybe truth isn't always a neat sentence or a fact we can prove on paper. Sometimes, truth is a whisper, a knowing, a deep feeling that connects us to the world and to each other. It reminds us there's more to understanding than just what we can say out loud, and that's okay. It makes the world richer, full of mysteries we truly know by experiencing them. The mystery of being alive. Have you ever really stopped to think about what it means to be alive? Not just breathing, but truly alive. It's one of the deepest mysteries we face. We see living things all around us, a tiny seed pushing through the soil, a squirrel chattering in a tree, our own hands moving as we write. But what makes these things different from a rock, a table, or even a very complex robot? For centuries, thinkers have wrestled with this question. Ancient Greek philosophers, like Aristotle, wondered about something they called psyche. It wasn't just about our thoughts or feelings. For them, psyche was the very principle that made a thing alive. It was what made a plant grow, an animal move, and a human think deeply. They believed living things had a certain spark inside them, something that inanimate objects lacked. They knew living things could heal, adapt, and create more of themselves. And that's what truly baffled them. Here's the thing. You can take apart a dead leaf and study its cells under a microscope. You can understand how water moves through its veins, but you still can't find the exact spot where life was. Think about a finely made doll. It might look incredibly real. It has eyes, hair, even clothes, but it doesn't have emotions. It doesn't feel cold or happy. It doesn't dream. Now, think about your own pet, maybe a dog or a cat. It has its own, unique personality. It can greet you at the door, play with a toy, or curl up for comfort. It reacts, it grows, it makes choices, even small ones. Both the doll and your pet are made of matter. They have atoms and molecules, but one is simply an object, and the other holds that incredible, mysterious spark we call life. Scientists can explain how cells work and how bodies function, but the big question remains, where does that initial spark come from? Why does matter arrange itself into something that breathes, feels, and wonders? It's a question that makes us look at every living thing with a sense of quiet awe. And in that wonder, we find a deeper appreciation for the amazing journey we are all on. How do we know what's next? Have you ever stopped to really think about how you know what's coming? Not in a spooky fortune-telling way, but in daily life. Like, how do you know the sun will rise tomorrow morning? Or that if you drop your pencil, it will fall to the floor? We just expect these things to happen, right? We count on them. This idea of knowing what's next has puzzled people for thousands of years. Ancient Greek thinkers, like Aristotle, tried to figure out how we predict anything. They saw patterns in nature. The sun always came up. Seasons always changed. So, they thought, if something has always happened a certain way, it will probably keep happening that way. It's about cause and effect. If you push a domino, you expect it to knock over the next one. That's a simple chain reaction we learn to predict. Here's the thing. Most of what we expect is based on our past experiences. Your brain is always looking for patterns. It's like your own personal prediction machine. When you see a red light, you expect cars to stop. Why? Because that's what has happened every time before. This helps us navigate the world without constantly being surprised. But then, what about the truly unknown? What about things that haven't happened yet, that don't follow a clear pattern? Imagine your friend is about to tell you a story. You might guess what it's about, but until they speak, you don't truly know what words will come out. So, while we often feel sure about what's next, it's usually because we're relying on past knowledge and patterns. It's how we navigate our daily lives, from brushing our teeth to walking to class. But deep down, there's always a quiet space of pure possibility. We predict, we hope, we prepare. Yet, the actual moment of what's next is always a fresh discovery, waiting to unfold. And that's pretty cool. It means there's always something new to learn, even about the simplest things. What is being there? Have you ever felt truly, deeply present, not just in a place, but completely part of that moment? That feeling is what some thinkers call being there. It's more than just existing in a room, or just walking down a hallway. It's about how you experience your own existence, right here, right now. Think of it like this. A chair is just a chair. It's there. But you are being there. This means you're not just an object in the world. You have thoughts, feelings, memories, and a unique way of seeing things. You are aware that you are alive, that you are having an experience. This idea has puzzled philosophers for a very long time. They wondered not just that we exist, but how we exist as humans. What makes our way of being so different from a rock or even a tree? Here's an example. Imagine you're playing your favorite video game. You're totally focused. You're making decisions, feeling the tension, celebrating victories. The world outside the game might disappear for a while. You're not just looking at a screen. You are in that world, experiencing it fully. You are being there, in the game. Or maybe it's when you're talking to your best friend, and you're so deep in conversation that nothing else matters. You are completely present in that shared moment. So, being there isn't about location, but about connection. It's about your own unique way of showing up in the world, moment by moment. It means truly living, truly feeling, and truly being part of what's happening around you. It's a quiet mystery, but also a beautiful part of what it means to be you. The echo of what is Inthav. You ever noticed how much power an empty space can hold? Or how something that isn't there can still shape everything around it? This idea, the echo of what isn't, makes us think about things that are absent or missing, yet still have a real impact. It's not just about nothingness, it's about the meaning of that nothingness. Think about it. For centuries, people have wondered about pure emptiness. Is it truly nothing, or is it a space for something? Ancient Greek thinkers puzzled over whether a true void could even exist. They often saw absence not as a blank, but as a kind of silent partner to what is there, like a shadow that shows the shape of light. Even though the shadow itself is just an absence of light, the shadow helps define where the light falls. Here's an easy way to think about it. Imagine your favorite song. The notes are important, right? They make the melody. But what about the silence between the notes? Or the moments an instrument stops playing, letting another voice shine? Those pauses, those quiet spaces, aren't just emptiness. They give the notes their rhythm, their feeling, their power. Without those silences, the song would just be a noisy mess. The quiet parts, the what isn't there, actually make the music what it is. They define the melody. So, when we consider the echo of what isn't, we're learning to look closer at the world. We're asking, what stories do the gaps tell? What understanding comes from the things we don't see or hear? It reminds us that sometimes what truly matters isn't just what's visible or loud, but also the quiet spaces, the missing pieces, and the deep, silent truths that shape our world in ways we might not expect. Why are we able to think these things? Have you ever stopped to wonder, truly wonder, why we can even ask these big, mysterious questions? Why can we think about things not right in front of us, or things that might not even be real? Most animals live only in the moment. They react to what they see, hear, and smell. But we humans, our minds can travel through time, imagining the past or planning the future. We can even dream up entirely new worlds, just in our heads. For thousands of years, people have tried to figure this out. Ancient Greek thinkers, like Plato, wondered if our minds connected to a world of perfect ideas. Later, someone like René Descartes thought our minds were totally separate from our bodies, like a ghost in a machine. This idea suggests there's more to us than just bones and muscles. Our ability to think about abstract things, like infinity or nothingness, points to something beyond just physical stuff in our brains. Here's the thing, when you're trying to solve a tough riddle, your brain doesn't just look up the answer. It tries out different possibilities. It plays with words. It imagines different ways the riddle could work until a solution clicks. This isn't just reacting to outside signals. This is your mind creating, exploring, and building new ideas from within itself. It's like your mind has its own inner universe, where it can build castles of thought or explore deep oceans of meaning. So, maybe the fact that we can even think about these huge, baffling mysteries is a mystery all its own. It's a quiet wonder, knowing that inside each of us is this incredible power, a power that lets us reach out into the unknown just by asking a question. And that's why it matters. Our capacity to question is what makes us truly human, always reaching for understanding, even when answers are far away.